Good afternoon. We have a very active chat. It's a grand total of one man, but he is filling the chat for us.
Nice.
How are you doing, Robin Mankiller? There's no Marco here. There's an Edward, and there is the one and only Mr. Tom. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you, Ed. How are you doing?
As I've complained about, I think every evening, I'm hot as balls.
It's warm in the UK.
Yeah.
It's a bad week to be inside doing data sheets the entire time.
I was going to be inside doing something anyway, so I may as well do it something productive. Well, we've got another 1, 2, 3, another 7 indexes. That only took me about 3.5 hours last night, so hopefully we'll wrap that up a little bit faster today. We are going to be starting off with Robin says I don't sit still well. Excellent.
I totally
emphasize the way you
that.
type.
Yeah.
This is the two most ADHD members of 6++.
Yes.
Actually, no, that's unfair.
There must be a couple of others, but we are pretty bad.
Yeah. We definitely are. All right. Well, Marco Polo in the chat seemed like
that's what that was. I like it.
I'm going to highlight that, and when we get another viewer, we'll see if they join in with you, my man.
Yeah, a one-man game of Marco Polo. I respect that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's just get into it. We've got 7 to go. And we are going to start off with the Tau.
Here they come. Here come the Tau.
Here comes the Tau. I'm going to try and be objective with this. I'm not going to lie. I'm really disappointed with the index.
It's
not bad, but it's not the way I like to play. I very much embody the short blade. That's not a metaphor or a euphemism. But I'm very much a fan of taking a load of guns, getting really close to your face, sometimes charging you and saying, if you've got any models left, see if you can deal with me. That doesn't seem to be what this codex does. This feels like we're returning to that 8th edition playstyle or the 9th edition Tau set playstyle, which is, it's more synonymous with Tau, and that's fine. So this will probably make more people happy. But we'll see. Robin says, I'm selling my T-Suns and I have been pulled back from the brink of quitting 40k. Robin, I think this is a fantastic time to be playing. Maybe hold off on buying more stuff until the meta settles just a little bit, just so we know not necessarily what's great, but what plays in a way that you want. But if you've got a chance to proxy or play with existing models, it's an exciting time.
It's a fun time to be back and trying, I think. So good for you, Robin.
Absolutely. So the army rule. This is the one that you're going to get no matter the detachment, which is already a disappointment because I don't think you'll ever meet a Tau player that likes Markalites as a concept. I don't think anyone ever wants to hit on 4s and have to do jank to get around it. But to be honest, silver lining with the way 10th edition has gone, we've gone to a lot of ballistic skill 4 factions, and Tau already being there but having conditional pluses to hit, it feels like they're less effective by that. So it's not too bad, I guess. The long and short of it is you pair up units. And one of them is the observer, one of them is the guided unit. The observer picks a unit and then it guides the guided unit, funnily enough. And they've got to target a specific spotted unit, improve your ballistic skill by 1, and if the observer has the Markalite keyword, which, spoiler, is really easy to get because you heard of Markalite drones, you ignore cover on all your shots.
Very nice.
It is. And then the guided unit is -1 ballistic skill against another unit. So if you kind of mess up, if you get your target priority wrong in the shooting phase, you are punished for that. So I kind of like that. Then you've got the Kauyon detachment rule. This is very similar to what it is at the moment. Nothing for turns 1 and 2, which is design space I don't enjoy, especially now there's no way to pick a buff at this point anyway that goes off on turns 1 and 2. But turn 3 onwards, you get sustained hits 1, and turn 4 onwards, you get... And then while the unit is guided, you get sustained hits 2. So this is a much better version of the rule that we had in 9th edition. There's no range penalty to it. You still have to wait till turn 3, but once you're in turn 3, as long as you're doing the Markalite shenanigans anyway, you're going to be getting your exploding 6s, getting 3 hits from those, or maybe if you can expand your crit hits range a little further. Fantastic. So we have got some stratagems. It's a good suite of stratagems. We'll not fuck about. Start off with Strike and Fade. It's 2 CP.
Good to have.
You shoot with the battle suit unit that can fly, and then you get to make a normal move. This is so much better than it was, but it is 2 CP. It's something that you're absolutely going to be spending CP on, and I haven't found a way to do any of the free strat shenanigans in this book. There is a way to duplicate strats, but I haven't seen one to make it free. So you're going to be paying through the teeth for this, but you're probably going to do it because that is the Tau way. We really like to shoot. We don't like to get shot back. There are stim injectors, 1 CP. This is significantly worse than it was last edition. Last edition, this was a fantastic bit of jank that was a paid upgrade. You put it on a sergeant of a squad. Once per game, you get a phase full of a 4-up feel no pain on that specific mod.
Which was nuts.
I always explained him to my opponents as this guy will tank an entire unit.
Yep.
And then your second unit will activate and the squad will die.
Yeah.
That was how much damage he soaked. Simon says stim injectors are more accessible now. That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
and you're less punished for taking multiple units. It's a nice buff when you've got such a large wound base as battle suits. If you've got 4 wound models, anytime you can slap any feel no pain on that, it's quite a nice buff to throw off efficiency. If your opponent's putting 2 damage shots into you. The odds of not rolling a single 6 across 4 wounds, I don't know the maths on it. I'd say it's something like an 80% chance to roll at least 1 6. That would be my, ballpark top of the head math. So that's quite an efficient buff to put on them there just to skew your opponents. It is also much less toxic to play against. As much as I enjoyed staring my opponent's face while I made 4-up invuln after 4-up invuln. Oh no, I failed one. Never mind. I've rolled 4 feel no pains, 3 of them are 4-ups.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
So demoralizing going into a unit and just bouncing off it like that. But it was
it
was a clutch tool.
Absolutely. You had to have a stance of power. Square your legs, look at your opponent in the eye, and just be like, I'm gonna keep doing this all day, buddy. So good strat. Maybe it could have gone up to a 5-up, but that might actually have been too much. I don't know. This is one of those things that is hard to quantify until you see it in effect. I think it's going to be more effective than it looks like, but still less effective than I'd want it to be.
Yeah, you're going to need a good gauge of when this is going to swing things enough to make it worth doing. But the flexibility and being able to pop it in the right place is very nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Robin Malkiller says, as far as Eldar go, I'm missing 3 Phoenix Lords and Storm Guardians, and then you have the rest of the range to use.
Robin, drawn in by the elves. I see.
You're in a pretty good space.
Yeah, you're in a good spot.
We're going to talk about those within an hour. Don't you worry about that.
In one of the early comments, Robin talked about having a new inbox Eldari Bone Singer that he's been looking for 6 years had poped up. He meant popped up. But I like the idea of the Bone Singer in full papal robe in the little car, doing his piece in the Vatican, which obviously in this is all out of Wraithbone Vatican, and Bone Singer of Hope. I'm here for that. I think that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
So if anyone wants to convert me, that'd be great.
If we could get him on this little pulpit here, obviously I'll have their own Pope. So I'd very much like to see that conversion.
Definitely.
He says huge. Yes, they are absolutely huge. All right. So next strat, coordinated to engage. Pick 1 Tau unit that has been selected as an observer. So that is the less buffed unit. Until the end of the phase, the model in that unit gets to increase their attack by the ballistic skill of their attack by 1 and ignore cover. Basically, you're just duplicated the guided units buff, which is quite nice to have. You can have 2 offensive units and get the full effectiveness of both of those. 1 CP, you're probably going to slam this quite a lot if you're running a lot of,
very nice to have.
Especially if you're buddying up like battlesuit units. Maybe we see a couple of small battlesuit units with flamers or something. Obviously, you don't really care about the ballistic skill, but if you're ignoring cover with those, that's not a bad place to be.
Very nice.
1 CP point blank ambush. I'm stumbling over my words today. I obviously haven't had enough caffeine. Pick 1 Tau unit that has not been selected to shoot. Pick a unit within 9 inches and increase your AP against that unit. Sorry, it's any enemy unit within 9 inches. So this is kind of what it feels like the Tau units are missing at the moment. Their AP has definitely been squished down a little bit.
You notice the little rider down the end, so this can't be used in the first or second battle round. So that's a pretty brutal restriction, but it means it's encouraging you to play it in line with Carry-On, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. What's funny though, you probably don't really care that much. You're probably going to be trying to play KG early on.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, this is a good strat. Again, this is one that you want to slam a lot. Although
plus 1 AP strats are huge now because, as we saw,
Mm.
Marines across the board have that -1 AP strat. So being able to no sell that when you need to, I just think it's massive, just absolutely massive.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame you can't use it in the fight phase. How am I going to get my combat Tau going now?
Combat Tau dream is dead. Oh no.
Yeah. Simon says point blank is like what the breach and clear strat the breaches used to have. That used to be rerolls, but maybe in 8th edition that was it. I will say I only suffered playing against Tau. I didn't actually play as them in 8th edition. We've got a grenade strat. Tom and I are big fans of grenades.
We're grenade people in this house. That's what we do.
Absolutely. Any previous watchers of the show will have seen that. So it's your opponent's charge phase. After they've declared a charge, you select one unit that has grenades, and they have to take a battle shock and -2 to the charge rolls for that unit.
Super nice.
Yes.
Super nice.
You know what I haven't looked at? Whether battle suits have grenade.
We'll be looking at that.
We will be. I don't think they do. So I think this is just going to be on your foot sloggers. So still a good strat, but maybe not quite as good as the repulsor fields or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I mean, I think the battle shock dimension of that might be huge, right? You've got opponents trying to push you off objectives and you're just no selling it with a failed battle shock test. I mean, the charge fail is also great, but yeah, 2 ways to screw up their push here now rather than just one.
So the best thing about this is if that forces them to have to CP the charge.
Yeah.
However, if you've battle shocked them, they can't re-roll the charge.
Yeah, you got a lot of things.
You can potentially make that a very unappealing.
I like it. Suitably updated to work with the new edition, I think.
Simon says Kroot access this now too.
Of course.
Fantastic.
Kroot freaking love grenades.
Yeah, I haven't got Kroot on my short list just because there were too many things I wanted to talk about. But I looked at them and I was like, they're exactly the same as they were. Like pretty much to the line. This is fantastic. They were so good before.
Yeah, they are.
So big fan of Kroot. Not Kroot hounds. They're a little sad, but
they're having a sad time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, combat embarkation. This is basically in your opponent's charge phase. After they declare a charge, the unit that was declared gets to get back in a transport as long as it is within range. It's got to be within 3 inches. So you've got to really cluster around the transport there. Dave says melee Tau back on. No, this is the opposite of. This is stopping the melee. But yeah, keep an eye out. Dave and I share the same brain. Apparently, we have discovered. So if he's found some melee Tau buffs, I'd love to hear them.
Brilliant.
All right, enhancements. We've got these are some pretty good enhancements. I think they're quite solid. I can see a use for all of them, which is nice. Exemplar of your Carry-On. It gives you the buff of your Carry-On detachment rule from turn 2 instead of turn 3. Boy, I wonder if you put this in the big brick that you want to have exploding 6s on. Yeah. Maybe you do that early.
Maybe you do.
It's not too shabby.
That is very nice.
Simon says, Kroot have an all-game feel no pain, which improves. Is it a 6-up base and then a 5-up when they kill the unit? I missed the 6-up.
That's
the base. Yeah, we'll check that one out in a little while. Precision of the Patient Hunter. Tau Empire model only. When it makes an attack, add 1 to hit. From the 3rd battle round onward, add 1 to wound.
Nice.
I like this a lot more than the sort of conditional buffs that we've been seeing, which is if the unit is battle shocked or below half strength, add 1 to wound as well. I think this is good because 3 out of 5 turns, you're just going to be getting the buff. This is solid. Even if you could somehow put 2 characters in the same squad, I don't think this works with Exemplar of your Carry-On, which is a shame because that was the thing that I immediately was like, can I get this on turn 2? But I don't think you can. That's fine though. Pure Tide Engram chip, and it basically just lets you use a stratagem again that you've already used. It doesn't make it cost 0 CP.
Interesting.
Which sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost everything like that has. So that's a bit sad. Also, the Kroot Shaper can't use it. Boo.
Absolutely. What are you going to do if you're running, 260 Kroot?
Yeah.
Kroot
meta.
Kroot Shaper. Yeah, Kroots. Although I don't think you can do that now. You think you might be capped at something daft like 76 when you take into account.
I played against 120 before. I won't miss that.
Yeah, I don't think your opponent will miss that either, even though they were the one doing it to you.
Yeah.
All right, we've got through Unity Devastation. And when the model is leading a unit, each time the unit is an observer unit, so you want to put this in the unit that's not the main damage dealer, The ranged weapons equipped by the models in the guided unit have lethal hits while targeting the spotted
that's
unit.
cool. That is
It
fun.
is, yeah. It's a conditional buff that you have to put in you're probably putting in a squad because you're not running characters on their own, but it's buffing a different squad. That's a nice little bit of flavor.
It's a lot of combination play in here, isn't it? I can see a lot of Tau players falling flat on their face with this whilst they're figuring it out, but it's very nice.
That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not super jazzed about it myself, but I think it's good, and I think there's a lot of flavor in there.
It is flavorful, definitely. Yeah.
It's different, so it might take some getting used to, but
I think so.
It's not awful. First data sheet.
Here we go.
You know how I was saying that you didn't get a strap for free? Well, just take an ethereal.
Oh, nice.
Plus, you get a CP. It's not the best version of CP regen we've seen, but it's also not bad. He also gives a Feel No Pain 5+. That sounds really exciting until you scroll down. You go, oh, he only goes in the breaches of the strikes. It's still fine.
Yeah,
it's
not
awful.
terrible. Not terrible. Yeah, making them just that bit more annoying to shift is always useful.
Absolutely. I wonder if I missed an ethereal on a hover drone. I don't think I
That one had the hover drone, the one you showed.
But he only moves 6 inches.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no. Cool.
Fly, move 10. Here. Not bad at all.
I was wondering if that would let him join units that flew and moved 10, like, for example, battle suits. But no, never mind. He's still pretty solid. He's going to be a cheap support character, I think. Someone that you can put some sort of effect onto and be fairly happy with it.
Yeah, and CP is so valuable now that any way to buff that is massive.
And this is my unit number 2. This is not necessarily because they're going to be super good. However, I love piranhas. I have been wanting to run a piranha spam list since 8th edition. You can still run 1 to 3 in an edition where we're seeing lots of things capped down to single model squads.
Nice.
Look at this here. Any number of models can be equipped with up to 2 Seeker missiles. This is the reason for 3 editions I've wanted to run these.
Oh my word.
So they only hit on 4s, which become 3s when you do your guided Seeker. However,
but that's a good profile.
Yeah, absolutely. And they tend to be, they've always been 5 points. I'm assuming they're going to be very similar this edition. So you've got 2 shots, you're going to be hitting on 3s, strength 14, AP 3, D6 plus 1 damage. That's pretty solid.
That is very good.
That's just the side weapons. And then you can also take a Melter 4 Fusion Blaster. You do have to get in within 12 inches, but it's not awful. Or a Burst Cannon, which is, I think, probably the better pick to go for. It means you don't have to get too close. They do have some...
Scout Move 9 is nice as well. So, a bunch of these are just going to get angles on whatever they want, aren't they? And just
this is the jank. This is the jank. The real reason that you probably take a couple of these as individual models is it's Scouts 9, it moves 14, and you can take, let's see, you can't take any drones, but no worries. You can still move your 14 and do your Marker Light. You're observing. It's not called Marker Light now. It's just a really solid unit to enable all of the other things you've got in your book.
Yeah, I think that looks really nice.
And maybe run 9 of them with 18 Seeker missiles.
So this is the thing. If you think about those Votan lists where it's just like, lol, here come the bikes. I feel like lol, here come the piranhas is probably pretty good. But if you go first and you just shove 9 of these with all their shots into something, that's brutal. Despite
playing competitively, I am a Timmy at heart, and I love big stompy things and I love stupid combos. So this has come from when I really wanted to run 27 Sentinels back in 8th edition. Before the Forge World ones got squatted, because I was like, but if you take I think it was a plasma cannon was the best gun then, and you take a hunter killer missile and you stand still because you're caging and you're really rolling 1s, you just kill everything. It probably wouldn't have done that, and this is the same. It probably won't kill everything here, but this is a good enough profile that I can think about that and be like, yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, 100%.
So on to something that is legitimately good, I think. Ghost Kill Key. I really can't talk today. I think it's
you're excited. I think you're excited.
I'm all nervous. Ghost Kill battle suits. They basically, the reason that I've pulled this up is last edition. You couldn't target them if you're outside of 18 inches because they're drones. Now it's 12 inches. It's a lot easier to be away from a unit that's going to shoot you with 12 inches. Everything else on here is pretty good. You can infiltrate. You've got stealth for the -1 to hit. That's really nice.
Toughness 8 is nice as well.
Toughness 8. It's a little squishy. It used to be toughness 7, I believe. So with a Rhino being T9, it's maybe a little lower than I'd like.
Has it always had a 2-up?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. In a world where it's getting cover, that is nice.
It is, yeah. Getting cover now is quite good. You don't really care about losing, like not having an Invuln. It does have the smoke keyword, or you can take the battlesuit support systems. Galmara says used to be a 3-up.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Nice. That is nice.
You've got 2 stealth drones that you can just blank a save. The weapons on it are fine. I'm not super excited by any of them, but as a plinky unit that you might fire over to an objective that's just out of the way, I think this is a genuinely good unit to have as long as it's cheap enough.
Yes.
I don't
Looks like it can force the hard commit, can't it? Because it's like you're not going to be able to shift this unless you put a good amount of stuff close. Because if you send one thing, I'm blanking the saves. If you don't come up within 12 with a bunch of stuff, you're not going to do the job. And then the rest of your army goes, thank you very much.
Yeah. You can also load it up with the Twin Flamers if you want to get a bit of Overwatch protection for things that do come to you. Galmar says the Iron Rake is the same profile as 9th.
Oh, there we go.
Iron Raker.
It was a good gun in 9th. I've had Marines killed by that.
I want to say it was AP2 on here, but I also never ran it. I just thought about running it, so I could be wrong on that one. The downside to this one is it is a little harder to do the spotted, the guided combo with this to get your faction rule. But I think we're looking at what's probably going to be a shooting meta. So having something that your opponent has to get close to is pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. And obviously it's got the choices here. I do quite like just giving it the twin Tau Flamer. So if anything gets close, like, yeah,
that's it.
Hurts you more than it hurts me. Lovely stuff. Moving on to another unit that is quite hard to deal with. Oh, I've gone one too far. This is Darkstrider. So he does join a unit of Pathfinders, which I think Pathfinders look pretty decent at the moment anyway. It gives +1 to wound. So if you're running their iron rifles, which has always been a bit of like it's felt like a bit of a meme. I've seen some players do it, but it's never felt like it takes off because they are still T3 1 wound models that are, going to get shot back. But he's got Jammer Array. Enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of this model.
Super useful thing to have.
That is so good. We were spending a command point at one of our relic slots to take this in 9th edition. You probably want to do this, especially now that you're forced into the less mobile play style and kind of lining it up a little bit. +1 to wound is really nice with the iron rifles as well. I don't even know what the profile is, but it's probably going to be something like 822.
Yeah,
because
the scout moving the 12-inch denial is beautiful. You can just push him out and screen out any pods that might be dropping in.
Yep.
You can use it quite reactively depending on what your opponent's going to be doing with it. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Absolutely. And key, it absolutely fucks over demons, which is, always a good thing.
Fuck demons, right?
Well, as a Tau player, absolutely. We'll see if they're as punishing, but right now they have been pretty difficult to deal with. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but Crisis Battlesuits.
Here we go.
They have lost a lot of the power that comes from the commanders. In return, you can take it through the War Gear abilities. So you can get ignore modifiers to hit rolls from the weapons support system, and you can fall back and shoot with the battlesuit support system. These are both good. It sucks that both the buffs you got from one commander you have to lose a hard point for. It has a good array of guns. You still have access to Strike and Fade. Now it is a full 10-inch move or 12-inch if you have the right commander.
Nice. Super nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do flat 6 advance now, which used to be the Cold Star buff. So you kind of just rolled all the buffs into one here. Oh, they've become vehicle. I missed that keyword. That's not good. That's very not good.
That's certainly a change.
That fly keyword suddenly looking significantly less exciting. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well,
but hey, you're going to tank shock people with them, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, like I say, I wasn't sure if it was good or bad. Yeah. Well, you can roll 5 dice and maybe another 2 if you're targeting something that's T4. That is an average of 2 mortal wounds. That's pretty spicy.
No ignore terrain rules. No, that is rough.
Yeah, I had missed that they were vehicles. Good job they've got the good fire and fade, because you're going to be going up 4 inches and down 4 inches with your move.
I think that seems to be why that fire and fade in all its forms has got this longer move now, because you just need it to cover the same ground you covered before with 7 inches.
Yeah. Simon says Cold Start gives a squad back the assault keyword. That is
nice.
true.
Nice.
What I will say, because that's kind of Tau's an interesting one because it's such a different play style to how I've played Tau. And it's going to take me quite a while to evaluate how I feel about them. I want to really sit down and do quite a lot of maths before I'm, super jazzed or super bummed.
Absolutely.
But sorry.
I just said absolutely. I was just agreeing with you. We're so polite.
Yeah. Gilmore says it makes the Enforcer and Crisis Commander so really appealing. Yes, I quite like the Enforcer. The Enforcer's buff is it gives you Armor of Contempt, basically, worse than AP by 1. But my disappointing pick of this index is just commanders, all 3 of them. They're still fine, and you're still going to take them, and you're still going to feel okay about it. Rerolling hit rolls of 1, and then you've got some other jank on there as well. But the buff they used to give, goddamn. Like, this is nice, but he used to make them obsec. This is nice, but you used to advance flat 6. So I guess you kind of have the same thing. And also he could, redeploy once per game, which was just super valuable for scoring.
Oh, that was huge, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little bit bummed about the commanders. As someone who really enjoys the battle suits more than anything else, I'm not sure about this, but we'll see. It could be good, or it could be underwhelming. Gun lines, though, everyone loves playing against gun lines.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Enemies of the Tower will be devastated to hear that they are perhaps a little curtailed in some of their capacities. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Galmaris has a good point. You can use big guns, never tire. He says, I know you're aware of this. I wasn't aware of this because I was under the impression that they were still infantry. So that's a great point that I hadn't even thought about. So they could currently shoot into combat. Now they can shoot out of combat. That's kind of neat.
To be fair, yeah, in terms of actually trying to lock suits up, that is vicious.
Yeah.
Hello, Jack. Hey, welcome.
Good to have you with us, my man. All right. Well, so that's it for me. I think Tau initial thoughts are reserving judgment, but not too underwhelmed. So we'll see.
Haven't seen raw power shining out of this yet. I like the way it's set up to play, and we'll have to see how points are. Because again, if commanders become much cheaper and you can bung a bunch of smaller teams with commanders in, that might suddenly get quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But doesn't look quite as terrifying as it has been.
They don't have battle line from memory, so you're capped at 3 squads and the bodyguard as well. So it looks like they want you to go for a more combined arms forces, which makes sense, but also no, fuck that. I just want to 100%. Run 30 battle suits again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So over to you, Tom. I think you wanted to talk about Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, we were going to do Votann first. We weren't expecting such a lovely chatty bunch as quickly as this. So I've front loaded the one I'm perhaps least sort of savvy with, but we'll get to the good stuff later. Don't worry. So here come the Votann. So what we got for army rule? We have got you got that up on there. So it's Eye of the Ancestors. So this is the grudges. You all know and love grudges. It's not auto-wounding nonsense anymore. It's a little bit more subtle. When your enemy destroys Leagues of Votann units, the enemies pick up judgment tokens. You can never have more than 2. And when they've got 1, you get +1 to hit. When they've got 2, you get +1 to wound, as well as +1 to hit. So this is a massive downgrade in terms of raw efficiency because, as we know, auto-wounding stuff is just bonkers, right?
Thank God.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I think anyone who has played Votann, and I've only played in a very casual setting, but I think everyone felt like they'd rather have more stuff on the board that's a bit less nuts and actually feel like they can play the game than just be trying to lol table people and hope that works, right? So I think that helps. I think people really, really didn't like that things like actions accrued judgment tokens. I personally never minded it. I thought it was quite funny. But this is much more simple, but it also means that Votann aren't going to power up until they're getting hit hard. And I'm not sure how much Votann players are going to love that. I don't think army rules that trigger on the death of your own units are ever especially popular. But hey, in terms of the theme, it's thematic as hell, right? You kill them, they start getting angry, they start writing your name down in the Book of Grudges, they're getting cross. That all makes complete sense to me. And +1 to hit and wound across an army later on is massive. Like that's a massive buff.
Sure. And I assume there are other ways of getting judgment tokens throughout the book.
For sure.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. All right.
And so for the detachment, we've got the Oathband detachment. And you've got Ruthless Efficiency. So at the start of the battle, you select one unit from your enemy's army. That unit begins with 2 judgment tokens. So here we are, getting some judgment tokens.
Yeah.
And if at the start of any of your command phases that enemy unit is destroyed, you gain some CP. Nice little CP bonus for you. So if you kill them in the first or second, by the start of your first or second command phase, you get 3 CP. 3! Loads. And this tapers off. So third or fourth, 2 CP. Fifth, 1 CP. Quite an unusual detachment rule. I mean, if you can wreck something and get 3 CP at the start of the game, that's beautiful.
I definitely misread this the first time I saw it previewed, and I didn't realize that it was in your command phase.
Yeah.
So you really, to get 3 CP, you have to body something turn 1.
Yeah. But let's face it, you're getting all the tools to do that, right?
Sure.
You're able to pick a thing. You're getting your maximum hit and wounding buffs against it. And it's start of the battle, so it's after things like deployment have happened, I assume. So yeah, I just pick something that you can lamp it, get a bunch of CP.
This is going to be really nice in the Knights matchup. You're just going to be very pleased.
Yeah, I think that's how you see this. This is sneakily just keying you off against a hard target nice and early, whilst you've got as many guns as you can have.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. Honestly, I think that's good.
Perfect. All right.
So then stratagems. We've got a nice bunch. We've got Warrior Pride. You can pick a Leagues of Votann unit in the fight phase, an enemy unit that's got 1 or more judgment tokens, and then improve your melee AP against it by 1. Nice, all round, always useful. Get some additional AP, get some attacks through. Again, cancel out any minus AP shenanigans that armies have at the moment. So a nice fighty little one there. Then you've got Ordered Retreat, fall back, shoot and charge for 1 CP. Beautiful, useful to have. Your little slow, stubby lad, so you don't want to get bogged down. This now goes on any unit, which means no more cuddling Sagittars or land fortresses. That thing is still pulling back and shooting the shit out of whatever it wants.
I definitely did that the one time I played them at a tournament.
Oh, every time I've ever played them, I've cuddled the land fortresses for the entire game, except playing James Marston, who is too good for that shit. Sadly, no other Votann player I've ever played has been. But then we've got Ancestral Sentence, shooting phase, pick a Leagues of Votann unit, and that gains sustained hits 1. And against a unit with 1 or more judgment tokens, sustained hits 2. Again, very nice. Very nice. There's some good guns in here. Very nice volume exploding shooting, and again can go on anything, so it could be any big shooting unit. I like that a lot. Reactive Reprisal. If an opponent shoots you and their unit has 1 or more judgment tokens, you pick one of the units they shot at and you shoot back.
Nice.
Never not good.
Times.
Yeah, 2 CP now. That's expensive.
It is.
But shooting back is potentially absolutely massive.
It is also the good version where you don't have to take casualties.
Exactly that. You don't have to take casualties here. So I think that's nice. Honestly, the stratagem suite so far feels very good. And then you've got Newfound Nemesis, using your opponent shooting your fight phase just after they've resolved their attacks. And you pick a Votann infantry or Votann mounted unit that was reduced to below half strength. And then the attacking unit gains a judgment token or up to 2 judgment tokens instead if that unit contains your warlord. So yeah, let's say that they've undercommitted, you haven't managed to get a token on, or you've got a unit you desperately want to get an extra token on before your turn, just slap another one on. I think that's useful. So again, as we're seeing, there are ways to get the judgment tokens out there.
Yeah.
Finally, Void Armor. It's Armor of Contempt. It's the same deal.
Oh, they're Space Marines.
They're Space Marines.
They're better Space Marines than Chaos Space Marines.
Absolutely riddled with 2-up saves. We are going to be playing an edition that is absolutely riddled with cover.
Yeah.
2-up saves, -1 AP. We all know how that went last time. You've got a lot of that energy in here. It's nice.
Tom, I don't think you understand. You're not going to be taking any saves. Not unless you've got a feel no pain, my friend. I see your 2-up saves, and I raise you devastating wounds.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, but Votann, mortal wounds, that's fine. If they brought mortal wounds, just lose. That's okay. It's already like that. Don't worry about it. No one's going to bring mortal wounds. Honestly, I think this whole thing's been overblown, guys. Everyone's going to play it by the book. No one wants this devastating wound nonsense.
Yeah,
we're all better than that.
Next, I think we're
enhancements.
Eldari.
Oh no, we don't need to talk about Eldari. We don't need to do that. Let's not do that to people.
Yeah, just quickly to catch up on the chat. Galmara says if you can kill something by your first command phase, you deserve that CP. Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
And they deserve to lose that model. Jack says it's quite nice. You can either pick a cheap, shitty forward deploy unit to match the CP, or the scary brick, and I think we might see some scary bricks.
Yeah, I think it's definitely got some play in a whole bunch of ways you can use that, and it's you're going to get something out of it every game. I think that's nice. If you don't manage to get any CP off of that, it's gone wrong. It's gone very wrong.
Absolutely.
So
Simon B just very quickly says, "Does this mean that the 3 CP ignores that you can only gain 1 CP per turn?" It does. Yes,
it 100% does. Yeah,
it is one of the few rules that
promise you, Simon.
So wouldn't lie to you.
Would never lie to you. Enhancements then. Appraising Glare first up. Leagues of Votan model in your command phase. Select one objective marker your opponent controls until the end of the phase, whilst an enemy unit is within range of that objective. It counts as having 1 more judgment token than it has.
Oh,
that is very nice.
I genuinely haven't had time to look at the ones that Tom's going to talk about, and this is the first time I've seen this rule. This is fucking nuts.
That's great, man. And you know what's funny about this? Your model doesn't even have to be on the board. Doesn't even have that rider. If you want to have it on a guy and he just fucking hides in a transport or he stays in reserves and you just use him to gank stuff and they can't even kill him.
I think he does have to be on the board just in terms of rules that aren't on the board don't affect, right? Is that
it's interesting. Normally stuff like this has the wording if this model is on the board. So maybe not. Anyway, either way, very good. Like it a lot. Then you've got a long list. Leagues of Votan model. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit, if that enemy unit has 1 or more judgment tokens, you can select another enemy unit they can see and just pass those over. Gain a judgment token on the next unit. Also very nice. Then Grim Demeanor. You can reroll battle shock test taken for the bearer's unit. And then models in that unit can ignore any or all modifiers to their characteristics and or to any rolls or tests made for them, excluding modifiers to saving throws. That is nice as well. Wayfarer's Grace, Leagues of Votan model only. The first time the bearer is destroyed after placing a judgment token on the unit that destroyed it, because they don't forget, on a 2-up, they just come back with full wounds remaining.
Celestine's been packing on the pounds.
Yeah, exactly that. Look,
Moira, you've been
honestly, guys, these are all good. These are all fun. Like, they all help the army work. You could, I think, and I've been through some of the different enhancement sections, and there are some where you can just go, well, there's 2 at best. I would use. You could use any of them. Those are all great. Every single one of them is great.
Is the least exciting because the squad he's in has to kill the unit.
Yeah, completely. That's the one that's probably the hardest to leverage, especially on little stubby dwarves. But they've all got play. Like, they've all got play, absolutely. And that's a nice position to be in. So then what did I pick out from the data sheets? This is going to feel arbitrary because it was arbitrary. I went with Hearthkin first, page 17. So Hearthkin, let's look at these guys then. Toughness 5, movement 5. The whole advanced 3 only thing is gone, which actually means these little squads can get across a little bit quicker, all going to plan. At times, if it really matters, you can get them a bit further up the board. You've got a whole bunch of special weapons here. Obviously, the sad ones are the ballistic skill 5s on the heavy weapons, and in general, Votan going to ballistic skill 4. I think this is something that Votan players feel a bit sad about, but it's going to make them a little bit cheaper, and you're going to be able to have more of them on the board. I think that's a positive.
It definitely feels like the position to be more of a horde army, which is quite cool.
Completely, absolutely. And if you look at these guns, you've got a bunch of sustained hits guns, rotary cannon, plasma beamer. The Las Auto rifle is a casual rapid fire 3 assault gun at strength 6, AP 1, damage 1, so just L's be gone. You can pack a lot of these guns into a squad, which is quite fun. They are only a 10-man these days, but you've also got your Medipack to get a 6-up Feel No Pain. You've got Comms Array, 5-up CP regen, ignore cover with the spectral scanner, 4-up invuln on the champ, and also they sticky objectives, which for Votan I just think is going to be nice. Being able to trundle up the board, sticky and stuff, pushing on even further, shoving lots of little dwarves down the opponent's face.
Getting shot off the objective you're holding and going, don't care.
Not the end of the world at all, And then the kin melee weapon, a couple of attacks, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. It's not going to do anything particularly spectacular in combat, but it's strength 4, strength 5, not terrible. I just think for a basic troops unit, plenty of punch. Yeah, plenty of punch. I think plenty of reach. I think the issues potentially for them will be there's a lot of AP 1 here, but ignore cover helps.
True.
And so it's just I think for a basic troops unit that has plenty going on. Then we've got the Hearthguard next.
Who are tiny models. I had no
They're
idea how
so
small
cute
they were.
and tiny. Mine are actually
Yeah.
some of my favorite I've ever painted. I love the Hearthguard. So Hearthguard are T6, 2 up
What
save.
page are they on, my man?
They're on page 19, Ed, just
Thank you.
down below. No problem. So you get the option to deep strike it or to give the bearer a 4-up invuln. You've got 2 up save here, and Oathband Bodyguard. So when they're being led by a character, they effectively get -1 to wound, which at T6 means that's basically transhuman into everything except the very strongest anti-tank guns in the game. Very nice. Very nice on T6 as well. And then you've got Devastating Wound Disintegrators. You've got Blast on the Exo Armor Grenade Launchers. And if you go with the Plasma Guns, you get a bunch of shots at Strength 8, AP3, Damage 2. It's obviously 1 per guy in the squad, but that's a lot of hits. And these guys are Ballistic Skill 3. So with Judgment, they're hitting on 2s, okay? And then +1 to Wound with 2 Judgment tokens. This is not negligible at all. And then finally, the weapons. You've got quite a nice suite here. So the hammers are AP1, Damage 3. Got the Concussion Gauntlet, AP2, Damage 2, or slightly more attacks with slightly more accuracy with the Plasma Blade Gauntlet, Strength 6, AP2, Damage 1. So I think you're probably going to want that AP in combat strat for these, and then you can just go hammers then, and just get as much through with the hammers as you possibly can. But with +1 to hit and wound, that goes a long way. So yeah, they're very nice, very chunky. And I think, the little sort of transhuman effect will be very nice on them.
I'm liking this sort of mini transhuman that we're seeing, where you're not punished if you've got a lower strength, but if it's a higher toughness, but without just saying, hey, you can't be wounded if it's too low.
Completely. We haven't seen like reroll wounds in here, so there's not really any way to go silly with the devastating wounds, which I think obviously is something I know a lot of people are after.
Yes.
But I think this has been handled relatively carefully, like a lot of books that scared people have been. Okay.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Dubious D. He says, Elf Schmelves, can't wait to get Tom's takes on GSC.
Oh, it's coming.
It is coming.
Wild. I was asked in the chat to describe GSC in one word earlier on, and wild was the word I chose because I think that's an appropriate description of where they're currently at. So if you take us to page 25, Ed, we'll look at the Sagittal.
Absolutely. Oh, I was hoping you'd show me this one.
I do like the Sagittal. So what I like about the Sagittal is that it's got a Scout 6 move, and units can disembark from it after it advance.
That is nice.
So you've got a really fun, yeetable little vehicle here that can just absolutely yeet up the board, drop a little squad out, and make havoc. And that's really, really fun. And I think the gun profiles look largely the same. The Sagittal missile launch is quite nice at Strength 12, AP3, Damage 3.
That's not bad.
And it can take that alongside the L7 missile launcher. So that gives it
really?
2. Yeah, I don't know why, but that has always been the case.
I don't think it has. Maybe I'm a fool.
I think that was something they weren't sure about that ended up being ruled that way. Obviously, the autocannon's sort of solid all-rounder, but I think with the +1 to hit and wound available, the missile launcher looks very nice for just cracking hard targets. And just slapping those on. And again, it's, T10
3 quality shots.
T10 on a little buggy is pretty chewy.
Yeah.
But I just think, the ability to sort of get up the board and drop some little troublemakers onto an objective and start blasting is extremely fun. I like that a lot.
Also, transport still does the jank.
Oh yeah,
you can split your units if you've got units of warriors into 5-man units. It's only warriors now, but I think that's the only thing that you needed to split anyway.
It looks like this can still transport berserks as well, I think.
It says no exo armor or exo frame. I don't believe they have either of those.
They don't have either of
They're
those.
naked as fuck.
So they are good to go. So you can still do your little death cars, and you can jump out and do mole grenade launcher shenanigans if you want, but mostly those will stay in and hide and fight, I would guess.
Is this the best faction to push around the car and make brum brum noises?
I think definitely, yeah. They've just got such Tonko truck vibes, don't they?
They really do.
It's just a good time. As I say, I don't think there's anything here to be making Votan players think they're going to take the world by storm, but I think it just all looks neat and tidy, and there's some nice stuff in here.
It might be one of those books that in 3 to 6 months, where hopefully we see some of the more egregious dev wounds trimmed down and non-line of sight trimmed down. Maybe they sort of come out and go, hey, turns out, actually, we're just a well-written index.
Yeah. And what there definitely isn't in here is adequate grounds for the entire community to hate on you for no reason for months. So I think
That's
that'll be a
incorrect.
nice change for Votann players.
No, that's incorrect because they have the Tau syndrome of being a good shooting army.
Yeah, so
in a
they'll just be
previous
unpopular
edition.
anyway.
So it doesn't matter if they're good now. People will still be like, I don't want to play against you.
Well, it is worth saying with the Sagittarius, the Scout 6 move is lovely, right? Because if you are going first, you've got that nudge out from safety, get on the board, or you deploy out and then you can just tuck back in if you go in second. That flexibility to either push it up and get it into the little places it needs to be or keep it back is really, really nice. I think that just gives it that little bit of flexibility. You're not going to end up in a position where you're going first and it's stuck somewhere you don't want to use it. And you're never going to have to, if you deploy it carefully, have it just shot to bits. Turn one either. You should be able to tuck it in and keep it out of harm's way, as long as people aren't bringing shit tons of re-rolling artillery.
Yes, which they will be.
They will be for at least a little while until James Workshop learns his lesson.
Yeah.
Right, next up we've got the Thunderkin. I like the Thunderkin. They've got cute little stilt legs, and that is the main reason. They are page 27, my man.
Lovely.
So what we got here? You've got Oathband covering fire. When they overwatch, they hit on 5s. That's fun.
Nice. Yeah.
Then they have the bolt cannon. Sustained hits, so exploding 6s, strength 6, AP 1, AP damage 2. Graviton blast cannon, anti-vehicle 2-up, blast. So D6 shots.
Huh.
Interesting combination of things to be, right?
Very short range.
Yeah, very short range. Thunderkin have been used a lot in this edition, coming in off the sides to punk things. And I still kind of feel like that's where they're at now.
Yeah.
Because I think anti-vehicle 2-up on a lot of AP2 damage 2 is quite nice. But they are short range. D6 attacks blast is very funny. I mean, so if Morven Vow and some Paragon warsuits come along, they're like, yeah, let's go. But blast is obviously okay. And then the SP conversion beamer, so conversion sustained hits D3. So if you hit the target from more than 12 away, a hit roll of 4 up gets D3 extra hits. Strength 7, AP 1, damage 3. Very, very fun.
Yeah, you're hitting on 4s. Each hit is a sustained hit.
Yeah,
great.
That's the thing. And I think the issue here is that, again, it's AP1. And I just think there's quite a lot of AP1 in here, and I just feel like AP1 will be struggling a little bit.
There's only so many units you can buff with that strat.
Galmaris, I've got 2 Wraith Knights. You can't have them. Go get your own.
Jack says, I would never bring that 3 Night Spinners. I have no idea what you're talking about. I definitely don't have 3 Night Spinners right in front of me.
Night Spinners do look priced to move. They are a cool tank with annoying rules, and that's what they've always been, and they always will be. And I look forward to inexperienced Eldar players trying to work out where the fuck on the board they can actually fit them. It is a lot harder than it looks, guys. Okay, I'm just going to warn you now. Not straightforward at all. Make sure you do it in a turn because they will get you next time. Cool.
Oh, yes.
Okie dokie. And then Pioneers, page 23. Classic. Hernkin, nice. Still scout moving. Still got access to all this good stuff. So when you target them with a CP, you can get it back on a 5. Still get ignored cover. And if you target something with stealth, you get +1 to hit. So you just completely ignore stealth, effectively, as a rule.
Okay, that's nice.
Ion Beamer and Rotary Cannon both have sustained hits. Assault weapons on the shotguns. Magnacore autocannon. So again, bunch of nice shooting. OC2, grenade keyword, which you know we're hot on, Ed.
Oh, absolutely. This is the best keyword.
Exactly that. So I think these are still just very solid for just pushing up and catching things out. And then the nice thing about these, outflanking Mag Riders at the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is within 6 of any battlefield edge, take it off, put it in strategic reserve.
I think these... Now, tell me if I'm wrong. I think these got better. They have a better save.
Yep.
I think they have a further scout move. I might be wrong on that one. But they're not vehicles, and that means in 10th edition they can breach, right?
I don't know how mounted works. Can mounted breach in this?
I think it's just vehicles and monsters that can't.
In which case that's great. Yeah.
So I'm saying that confidently because if I'm wrong, someone will tell me that in the chat. So
yeah, at the very least, they're still just as capable of jumping out from things as they were, because obviously fly doesn't go so far, but mounted might help. Grenades keyword is nice. I think they just still look like a really versatile unit that you want for drawing stuff onto the other stuff.
Yeah, they just shit out shots as well. They have so many. Yeah.
And again, T6, very nice. So yeah, it's a lot of shots, which again, once you start amping it up, +1 to hit, +1 to wound, definitely weighs on. And again, same issue I'd think that this whole index has, which is just so many of the guns are AP1, and AP1 might be a real issue. We'll see.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Elo Wazzle. They're also not going to get whacked by anything with anti apart from anti-fly. Anti-fly is possibly going to be the best anti-keyword, but we're not seeing a lot of it. We're seeing a lot of anti-infantry
around, has there?
And a lot of anti-vehicle. So, yeah, looking forward to that one.
Absolutely.
All right. Have you got a least favorite unit from this book?
Least
was
favorite...
everything kind of just...
So the point of sadness for me is probably the Grimnir. I love the Grimnir model. And he suffers a bit. He's page 13. He suffers a little bit from this sort of go-awaying of Psychers because he had a whole bunch of cool powers. And now he's basically just boosts his unit's toughness by 1, which is just... He can only go with the little foot lads, so it just makes them toughness 6. And he can unbattle shock them. That's not nothing. But his output is non-existent. And he doesn't really do anything else, so I just don't think you'll see him. I mean, he's a 4-up invuln, so I guess it's a few more wounds to tank a 4-up invuln on, I guess, in a squad.
His output's not nothing.
Yeah.
If he's cheap, he's got 6 shots hitting on 2s.
Yeah, I guess the focus Witchfire is okay. Witchfire is okay.
I'm not saying that I'm excited about it, but like,
no, it's not dreadful
enough. But no, I absolutely agree.
I think it's more the loss of the psychic discipline. It just feels a bit. But I actually don't think, again, the internal balance of this feels good. There wasn't anything. There were no stinkers in this. I like the look of all of it.
It's a lot easier to do with a 30-page index, but it's nice that they have hit that.
Yeah, exactly that. Cool. So that's the Votann. As I say, I don't think they're going to be pulling up trees, but I think solid. And it'll be interesting to see what people make happen with them.
This is really an index that points are going to make or break. And I know points make or break everything.
But... No, but that's completely true here because there's nothing you're looking at here going, oh, my word.
Yeah.
And so it's going to come down to how many of them you can get on the board. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've teased for long enough.
Okay.
Should we go to the main event here?
We can go to what you think the main event is. I don't think it's the main event.
Well, it's the main event for me because I'm going to be playing Eldar for a little bit.
Games Workshop, can you write me an Eldari book that I actually want to play when it comes out, please? For fucking once. Is it so hard to get it right the first time? I have to wait for a year for them to get it into a state I'd want to use it. But let's go through this hot mess, shall we, Ed?
I will say as well, I got immediate buyer's remorse when I was skimming through this because a lot of the flavorful stuff that I wanted wasn't there. I'm going to be, there's going to be like the world's tiniest violin when I'm tabling people. I'm
so dead inside.
Yeah, but like...
And you're dead everywhere.
Yeah. Depending how I feel playing them through the league, I might end up just playing Custodies on the side and prepping them for events. Just because everything I've seen in the Custodies book, I'm like, oh, give me more of this. But,
sure.
We'll see. Maybe there's some fun experimentation to be had. There's a lot of
I think a lot of the interesting stuff comes when you start looking at Ynnari, and actually there's a sort of low-key superhero hammer vibe lurking under the surface in here with Incarn and Avatar shenanigans, but we'll get to that. we'll get to that a bit later.
And Wraith Knights.
Yeah. My Wraith Knight's definitely getting a game now. I'm sorry. We'll talk about him in a bit.
We absolutely will.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iliwazzle sums it up well. I'm tabling you, but I'm not happy about it, trust me.
Oh, the number of times I've had that performance. You would not believe the number of times I've had that performance at events. It's like, really? Because it sort of looks like you bring a list like this every time.
Yeah. And Gelmar says, Eldari players out here complaining nerfing Barahoff kills their codex while the Wraith Knight one-shots a unit of Terminators. So just on the first bit, has he been nerfed? I think he does exactly the same thing.
He pretty much does the same bollocks. He just has to buddy up with some Swooping Hawks, right?
Yeah, you have to have slightly more reading comprehension, I guess, and go
the phase cap going is a big deal, but we'll get to that. Let's go through the outer layers first.
Sure. Do you want to take Strands of Fate?
Strands of Fate. You all know what this does because you've been talking about it for weeks. You get a whole bunch of dice, and you can 12 of them to be precise, and there's lots of ways to mess with them in here. You roll them, you keep them, and you can roll them multiple times and scale down if you want to. And you've got advanced, battle shock, charge, damage, hit, saving throw, and wound roll. You can substitute these in. So it's a phenomenally powerful ability. I think they'd really nailed Fate dice in the last book, and what they decided to do was go nuts and do a more crazy version.
They went from teasing out the Strands of Fate to front-loaded miracle dice.
Yeah.
And I think any Sisters player in 9th edition will tell you the thing that made the army work was miracle dice, because the amount of whinging that they did every time it got changed or nerfed.
Yeah.
So that was absolutely a key part of the army. And then you've just gone, here's all of your miracle dice. Never mind, you can generate more and manipulate them.
Yeah.
Go wild.
Yeah, completely. And I think this is the thing with this. And front loading is the issue. This is the thing. There's going to be a couple of turns where it just feels like the Eldar player can really easily backhand your efforts to hurt them and just gets whatever they want when they're hurting you. And those 2 turns are often the most crucial turns in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty crazy. Jack says, from my understanding, Ynnari Drukhari units get unparalleled foresight detachment trait. Ravager, Ynnari. I think at the moment they do. I do not anticipate that staying with us in the long term, Jack, but by all means enjoy it while it's around. Okay, next up.
Perfect. So just quickly, the battle host attachment rule here is when you shoot or fight, reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll per
hit
unit.
Hit and wound.
They had this in 8th
crafters.
edition,
yeah,
and then they nerfed it because it was too good.
Exactly.
Then they've given it back.
Very confusing decision. Well, not that confusing. They just amped them up quite deliberately. Expert Crafters was quite consciously changed to be less powerful, and they've just given it back in its original 8th form. Reroll a hit, reroll a wound.
But Tom, there's less rerolls in the game.
Less rerolls and less lethality. That's what I'm being told. And as we saw from the Votan book, in some places that's true.
Yeah. It sucks to be anyone who plays those factions.
Yeah.
You can have some really nice, fun games. I think play like Necrons into Votan, and then you've got somebody who comes across and slaps the bottle out your mouth and goes, "Fuck you!" And just.
Yeah, I think Boone in Goonhammer chat described this book as turning up to the party already drunk and high off its nut, basically, compared to all the other guests. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. It's on a different
way with words.
It's on a different level. Right. So here's some subtext. So Ynnari, if your faction is Eldari, your warlord is Ivrain, you can include Drukhari units in your army, even though they do not have the Eldari faction keyword. Combined units value of such units you include in your army depends on the battle sides as follows. And so I think, Jack, on your Ynnari comboing point, it's worth just looking up because the reroll, hit roll, wound roll thing very much works specifically on
It has
Eldari.
to have the keyword on the data sheet, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Drukhari are necessarily going to have this. And it's also worth saying, if you want rerolls to hit and wound, just run them in Drukhari, mate, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah.
Then you can't bring Phoenix Lords, Anrathe, Avatar of Cain, Solitaire, Homunculus Covens. The issue with this, of course, is that this is specifically for the building into an Ivrain Warlord Ynnari. At the moment, there's nothing stopping you just bunging the odd Ynnari unit into an Eldari army, and that's why the Incarn can come and play.
You can have both.
You can just do whatever you like. This feels like it was written in about 5 minutes. And then you've got Corsairs and Traveling Players. So if your army faction is Drukhari, you can include Harlequins and Anrathe units in your army, up to 500 points of Harlequins. There's a couple of Harlequins units that I think are good enough that you might want them in Drukhari.
We were very briefly talking about this beforehand because I've never played Harlequins. I don't really care about the stuff that they're lost. And you look at them to compare. I was like, even the troops. I was like, you know what? I don't hate that as a skirmishing melee unit.
Yeah, no, I don't hate them either. I don't hate them either, and it would be quite fun to see a troops and boats list like I've run a few times where you got stuff jumping in and out of transports and stuff.
I think a big motivator of that thought process is that we're expecting to see a lot of non-line of sight, and they have pretty good boats to put units in. So
they do.
Maybe that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Nice one.
All right. Do you want to take the first one of these?
I've been chatting a lot, man. If you want to take the enhancement,
yeah,
I've
sure.
got no issue at all. You go for it.
All right. So you've got some enhancements here. You've got the Phoenix Gem. Get up on a 2+ at the end of the phase. This is
full
good.
Wounds. Lovely.
Full wounds. Yeah, it's just the best version of that we've seen. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It'll probably be the cheapest as well. Just how things seem to be going. But yeah, it's fine. Honestly, I'm not super jazzed by it. I guess you could put it on like a lone character, but maybe you put it on a Farseer because you need it to survive to the second activation to do its powers.
Yeah,
and otherwise it gets non-line of sighted. Weeping Stones. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit, roll 1d6 and add it to your fate dice pool.
That's fun.
Solid. Yeah. Be good if you could take some big tanky units that you could maybe kill things with from across the board.
Yeah, so I was going to say there might be 1 or 2 contenders for that.
Yeah, and this isn't maybe the one that people are going to think, but I fucking love me some Wraithguard.
Yeah, baby, absolutely.
I know it's one that you're thinking of.
I love Wraithguard. I absolutely love them.
We are aligned on that.
Yeah.
Reader of the Ruins, a Psyker model only. Select 1 die in your fate dice pool, re-roll it, and then add it back.
It's starting to see it. The beginning of the manipulation, right?
Yeah, do you even need it? Because you've got a Farsi who can just flip 1 to a 6 each turn. Like, how many bad dice rolls are you expecting to have?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I think a lot of these things, I don't just think the book's going to be so powerful to start with, people won't need cute tricks. And it might be that you reach for that stuff a bit later when you're trying to stretch it out.
Absolutely. And then Fate's Messenger, once per turn after making a hit, wound, or saving throw, you can treat the result as an unmodified roll of a 6. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's here.
Yeah.
Do you remember Death the Jester? He's back, baby.
He is back.
I'm super jazzed because I never got to play him last
edition. Spoilers, he still basically does exactly the same bullshit.
He has 1 less AP.
He does have 1 less AP. You've got a very nice opportunity to just absolutely go to town with him, though.
He also has devastating wounds.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think there's any way to reroll his wounds, though. So,
Lewis Archer says, "Evening, guys. Hi, Lewis. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Good to have you here. Lovely stuff.
Can I just say this is quite a lazy set because that's basically a bunch of 9th relics that they've just slightly tweaked. A lot of the enhancements feel like they've at least cooked up new, more sort of army synergy things. A few of these just feel like imports, but hey, they're good. So.
They're bland. And that was my first thought when I skimmed through the first half of this index. So we'll see.
Ed's come to the jank side and they've run out of jank.
I know. And they've only just got like straight power. Like, how is this meant to make me a better player? This book definitely won't do that.
Yeah, but life is just Eldari players telling you it's a hard army to play as they table you. That's the way the universe works.
Absolutely. And it'll make me very equipped to understand how to get tabled by them.
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool. Do you want to take the first couple of these?
Absolutely. Feigned Retreat, 1 CP. After an Eldari unit makes a fallback move, you can charge 1 CP for the fallback and charge. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Bland, but fantastic.
Just always good to have.
Always good, yeah. Matchless Agility, 1 Eldar unit that has not been selected to move yet in your movement phase. You don't make an advance roll, you just flat advance 6. Cool.
That's nice.
Bland. But it's good. Yeah. Hey, Existence, good to see you. You've turned up just in time for the highlight of the hour, in my opinion.
We're in the elf bullshit now, man.
We're in elf lands now, motherfucker. Over to you, Tom.
So, Fire and Fade, as we've seen previewed, 2 CP, so expensive, but you get a full move now. Very strong. Very nice.
Yeah.
And then Bladestorm. So, shooting phase, any flipping Eldari unit. Doesn't even have to be like a shuriken unit anymore. And each time you make a critical wound, improve the AP by 2. So just chuck a bunch of extra AP on. Nice to have.
It is solid to have.
Best on volume. You want volume for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe Dire Avengers, because they've got the highest output. But then I think you can get lethal hits by putting Azaman in there. So maybe not.
Might be nice on Warp Spiders as well. They've got a lot of shots.
That is true. No, because it's critical wounds. You know what they do? Critical wounds.
Oh, they do devastating.
They do devastating.
Oh, so they don't need the AP anyway. Sorry, my bad.
They've got AP 65 already, my man.
Yeah, sorry, Warp Spiders don't need improving. My bad.
Yeah, don't worry, Existence. You can always go back and watch the Tau. But definitely stick around for this one before you rewind the stream.
Do feel free to ask some of the Tau players in the chat how they feel about the army if you're curious. That's always an option that you have.
Very quickly before we move on, Lewis says, can we talk about taking both avatars and more army?
Yeah,
we have
do it.
Vaguely
Just
done
do it. Let's absolutely do that. Everybody do that. It's awesome. There's no reason not to do it right now. I'm sure there will be, but there isn't right now. And I think that's probably the 1-2 combo for actually feeling like you've got some fun, pushy melee stuff on the board alongside some of the other stuff.
Yeah, but let's actually talk about it, because what you can do is you can walk the avatar up the board. They put their entire army into him. They don't kill him. You charge. You fight. They clear you up.
And then it's Incarn time.
That was cool. He is the Incarn.
Yeah. Oh, it's just so fun.
Oh,
it's just
man.
so fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting there. But back on the suite of
last couple of strats. So lightning fast, same as it ever was. -1 to hit. It's nice to have. Definitely nice to have. It's not going to save you from Eldar because they're re-rolling everything. It's not going to save you from Marines because they're re-rolling everything. But it might save you from all the other mug armies that are trying to play the game. And then you've got Phantasm. Now this is insane. End of your opponent's movement phase. Just make a normal move. 7 away. So just play keepy uppies, keep away. Don't even need to be charged or attacked or anything like that. Just reposition, get out of the way. Can't heroically intervene with it, but it's just the way of it. Like, it's just the way of it. I think this is insane.
It's not even the best version of it. because I can't remember who it has. One of the versions is go into strat reserves if you aren't within engagement range.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
there's
fun.
something along those lines. Yeah, it's going to be.
GSC have some stuff like that going on.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. And by looking forward to that, I mean I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
maybe
but this is absurdly powerful, and I think it's just this is an army that's going to play a lot of keep away whilst also just hurting you more than you can hurt it. And I know that's how elves are supposed to play, but this feels like a very extreme version of that at the moment.
Right, we have Franco joining us from the.
Oh, hello, True Demon Lord. Nice to see you, Franco.
And he says he can't wait to see all the top demon players. Top DA.
Oh yeah.
the top players claiming to be Dark Angel and Guard specialists running elves. I think, to be fair, top players are usually pretty aware of their bullshit. They, there's changing of armies, but there's very few people going, yeah, but you don't understand.
I would say,
I love this army.
Arguably one of the only genuine Eldar specialists of late 9th, Vic VJ, is currently a little bit meh on this at the moment.
Sure.
But I hope he does give it a run out to show people what he's seeing in it, because I think that'd be some cool stuff.
Is he just not keen because it's too good?
I think he just doesn't find it especially interactive.
I was a bit like that with NIDS. It was quite frustrating that I'd be going into day 2 at events and I'd be playing objectively bad NID players.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are we at the same point in this event?
There's going to be a bit of this, but it's worth saying a bad player on elves is always very funny. So
that is true.
There might be some catastrophic blowouts.
A much higher skill floor for elves. There's a lot of room to go wrong.
When it goes wrong, it really goes wrong. But we'll see.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right.
See.
Perfect. Well, should we just let's just cut to the chase. Good.
Night Spinners. Good. It's really good.
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
It's on a great chassis. Moves 14. It's T9. 3-up save. You don't care. You're gonna hide it behind a wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't have heavy on its shooting profile, which is like the saving grace. But you can target it with the Fate, the Farseer, to give it rerolls to hit, which you probably will. So you're going to be hitting on 3s. It's only D6 plus 3 shots. Strength 7, AP 0, 2 damage. That's fine. It's twin length. That's quite nice. Oh, it's devastating wounds.
Yeah, and it's now D6 plus 3 shots.
Yeah.
So it's quite consistent.
Yeah.
And just slapping those mortals on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's got other weapons underneath, but I don't think
no one ever cares about those because you only ever fire them at the end of a game when it's all gone wrong or it's all gone super well.
All gone very right, yeah.
There's a moment in an Eldar game where the Night Spinner goes, I'm not an artillery tank anymore because you can't fucking do shit to me. I'm going to come flying around and start acting like a frontline gun tank, but it's late game.
Absolutely.
So shall we talk about monofilament webbed?
Yeah, so there were some whispers that this was going to be a profile. There were some top players looking to buy these, which kind of keyed off a couple of people that they were going to be real good. Nobody told me this. Nobody told me they're going to be fucking
it's just insane
and no advance.
And you know, it's no limits. It's not infantry. It's just whatever the flip it hits.
And you know what the really sad thing is? Everyone's going to be trying to run 3 of these at the start of the edition. As you said, they might not be able to because they are big chassis.
It's honestly a struggle to hide 2.
Yeah.
If UKTC stays like it is, an Eldar army going second into Knights is just not going to have stuff because you just can't. But I would say the terrain probably needs to change. But
I agree.
That is the saving grace here is that towering keyword. This is why you run Wraith Knights for the Mirror Boys. Get those Wraith Knights in and just punk these spinners. Put them back in the bin.
Here's the thing. You don't need to hide them for 2 turns.
No, you don't.
If you get a difficult matchup where you can think you can play keep away a little bit, legitimately, start them in strat reserve. Bring them in. They have to come into the open, but never mind. They're just going to shoot, kill something, and then you go, cool. I don't care because I've had like 1.5 turns of shooting you with all my good stuff, and you die. But we'll see.
As Simon B says, Eldar don't have a puzzle, just power. Jack says, Yunari Jank is a puzzle I'm determined to solve. Having everything you want isn't a puzzle, Jack. But his starts with 2 Night Spinners and 2 Ravagers. Have a good time. Have a good time.
Yes, indeed. And Lewis does say, I just want to point this out, the best bit about Yukon is you can shoot a unit off with your D cannons and then teleport the card in and then charge. So
absolutely you can
kill something, put it on the other side of a wall and be like, Sucks to be you.
Yeah, I think in a way, actually, the Incarn kind of is the icing on the cake for the whole way this thing plays, because it's just you're just going to roll it, and you've shoved a melee monster in their face straight away. So it's insane. It's completely insane.
I think, unfortunately, I'm too much of a Timmy, and I would absolutely love to play the Avatar instead, because he's a much cooler model. So
yeah, take them both, man. Take them both.
Yeah, well, that might be too many points, because I also want to take 3 Fire Prisms, 2 Night Spinners, 3 D-Cannons, and a Wraith Knight.
Yeah, and surely they'll have pointed those appropriately, right? I guess we'll know soon.
What bullshit do you want to talk about? Give me a page number.
Oh, goodness gracious. I haven't got page numbers for these ones. I'm not prepared. Just flick through.
Worries.
We'll find something nuts. Just roll down. I'll spot something nuts as we go. Yeah, that'll do.
How frustrating they were to play against? I hated these things.
Yeah.
They are exactly the same profile.
They are much the same, except now they do their going back into reserves thing at the end of the opponent's turn.
Oh, end of the opponent's turn. Okay, I missed that. I thought it was just at the end of the turn. So that is a little easier.
It is a little different, but bear in mind you can still be fire and fading in these and hiding them.
Yeah, and you can move.
And obviously anything with proper deep strike that goes into strat reserves can deep strike proper when it comes back down.
Yeah.
So they're annoying still.
Sorry, Tom, you said fire and fade. I don't really want to pay any CP for that though. What if I just brought Barrow?
My bad.
Yeah, so you get a 6-inch normal move after you shoot if you've got Barrow in the squad. And if I just like soapbox very slightly, this is what makes me not super keen about this book. All of the Phoenix Lords feel quite bland. They have +1 to hit and then something else. Barrowhoth is, I think, the most interesting. It's a fire and fade, which is kind of just whatever, but at least it's thematically there. Stat-wise, he's cool. You know, he's moves fast. He shoots good. He stabs good.
He's much the same. Yeah. A little bit less AP.
If you look at the Exarchs that people were running in 9th edition, sure, they were all running the same ones because mathematically some were better. But at least you had the illusion of choice. And I think just having the illusion of choice is nice. Galmara says, I'd kill for free fire and fade. You don't have to kill. You just have to buy Eldar models. It's
completely.
You know, one is morally worse than the other, but I'll leave that down to you to decide.
Get the Wraith Knight, man. Someone asked for it in the chat, and I intend to deliver.
All right. Well, I guess we could talk about Wraith Knight. He's so
Hello.
good.
Look at this bad boy.
So I hadn't looked at him, and then you put it in the chat, and I was like, "Oh, he's cool." And then you pointed out what he can do, and I went, "Oh no!" I didn't think I went, "Oh yes." There's some O in there.
Right. But
I got talk me through this one.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me just get mine down from the shelf.
Well, while you're doing that, I will just quickly talk through the options. There is a little bit of decision making to be had because you get a Ghostglaive, feet, and a Scaff Shield. You can take 2 shoulder weapons, which is nice, and then you can replace both the invuln and the melee weapon with choices here. I want a gun, I want a melee weapon, and I want I want an invuln as well. So you actually have to give up something that you want here.
You can't have it all.
Nice.
No, absolutely. So heavy wraith cannon, blast, D3 shots, devastating wounds. And if you just slap a few fate dices on this, you're headed for like 4 to 6 D6 mortal wounds, which is just really funny. I think the nice thing about the Wraith Knight is you don't need the fate dice for the hitting and wounding so much because he's going to do that fine. You just save them all for the 2d6 mortal wounds, and he'll do that very well.
Depending on what you shoot into, you might chuck a 5 on there. For your number of shots. If you're shooting something where you're not getting blast, and then you're going to slow roll your hits. Yeah. Once you've wasted once you've used your only hit reroll from your detachment ability, then depending on how many hits you've got, you think about putting a 3 or a 4 in there. Yeah. Then you get to the wounds. You roll your first one. You keep rolling until you only have like 1 or 2 left, and you've used your reroll to try and fish for a 6. Yeah. And at that point you go, cool, I'm going to slam down these 2 6s or this 1 6, and I've got a Farseer nearby because you definitely have a Farseer nearby. Yeah, man. Because you're going to have a Footseer that slaps him with -1 to wound. Yeah. Which is just.
So I would expect it'll be the Wraith Cannon and the shield is what people want. So we have to break an arm off this bad boy and get a shield on him pronto because that's what he needs. Yeah. It's nuts. It's very, very nuts. And you're going to have some games where your opponent goes all in and tries to take him out turn 1 and then he just deletes them back. Yeah. And those will be experiences that you can remember.
But Tom, what if everyone stood behind obscuring terrain? Then surely they'll just shoot back at you before you can do anything. Because you
Well,
can't hide
Ed,
behind obscuring.
he's towering, so he sees through obscuring.
Oh!
Which is why he's going to win the Eldar mirror, because a fire prism behind a
Yeah.
wall is a dead fire prism in this man's book.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's just nuts. He's really good. He's also OC 10, so just shove him in the middle
really
and
nice.
go, come and get me off if you can.
Yeah. He's only got 18 wounds, but that's not far removed.
18 wounds, 2 up save, effectively in cover a lot of the time.
Because he's got the -1 damage.
Yeah, he's just very good.
I think this maths out about the same into like even the best weapons for killing vehicles.
Yeah.
So against any small arms fire, if you're trying to like desperately chip him down because all you like 2 prisms went boom, turn 1, you'd go, oh no, now I'm scrabbling. This -1 damage is going to be pretty key, I think.
Yeah.
Another keyword that I've only just noticed: he's a monster. He's not a vehicle.
He is a monster, not a vehicle. So anti-vehicle. Oh, and this is a fun story, Ed, because part of the reason I used to run mine was that it was Imperial Fist meta, and I was like, if I run Wraith constructs, they can't get me. This was like young me trying to innovate. Was it a good list? Not at all. Did I ever play Imperial Fist again? No, I didn't. But I was teched as hell for that matchup.
You got to bring it back to play Lewis.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So, I mean, we need to see the points on the Wraith Knight, but this just gives the army something to pivot around that's quite exciting, I think. And again, that gun is a real goer with the devastating wounds. Obviously, we were getting very cross about the D cannon, which we'd seen, which had the D6+2, but this is obviously actually better in that sense.
Yeah, it is.
So, scary.
Oh, I'm so keen for this. The only downside is I might not be able to run the avatar because he might.
Well, that's it. At some point with Eldar, you are going to have to choose between all of this absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I can see a world.
As far as I can see, the only downside.
Legitimately run 2 of these and just don't bother with fire prisms.
That would be quite fun. Yeah, I like them more than trying to just shove a bunch of the Eldar chassis, because the nice thing about him is he stands in exactly the places you don't want to put those, right? And so it's just a nice thing on the board to have. He's going to stroll forwards. The other tanks do their business. But we'll see. We'll see how much stuff Eldar can cram in.
While we're on a Wraith kick, let's just go through all of them because
we love Wraiths. Yeah, we love Wraiths. Let's do it.
Spirit Seer. So before we even get into anything, I just want to point out, look at the units he can join. Wraith Blades and Wraith Guard. Cool. That makes sense. Wraith Lord. Wraith Lords are unit size of 1. He can join a 1 model monster and make it a unit, which is just so fun. I love that. Big fan of that. And as you pointed out, that will keep him alive significantly longer than his T3 3 wounds squishy ass self.
Exactly that. And the buffs are good, right? Very nice.
Mate. I was really disappointed when I skimmed this because I couldn't load it for 20 minutes. Then I was busy at work, and then I was fervently sort of scrolling down while I was doing things. And I was like, lethal hits. I kind of thought he'd give them +1 to hit because of the weapon skill 4.
With the Tears of Isha, by the way.
And it gives +1 to hit anyway.
Yeah, it gives +1 to hit anyway. Tears of Isha brings a destroyed bodyguard model unit.
You can't because he's no longer in the squad. That was my immediate thought. If they were
so
squad size,
sad.
Mate, if they were 1 to 2, this rule would be.
That would have been so funny. Spirit Seer hiding, and then he just pops the Wraith Lord back up. That would have been so silly.
Yeah, but he also just makes your charges so much easier.
Jack says, "Is it my 10 Wraith Blades time to shine?" Yeah, I think so. I think Wraith Blades look great.
What have you equipped them with, though? That's the question.
If he's got any sense, it'll be the shield and the axe.
And this is not
the only thing that's ever been good.
I've never spoken to, but he has 10 Wraith Blades, so he might not have sense. He might be just high on Wraith dust, the same as you and me. At which point, all bets are off.
Yeah.
The swords look coolest. So
shall we keep rolling? What else have we got in here?
Wraith Blades. Oh, he does have the axe and the shield. Very
Good
nice.
lad.
Very nice. Yeah. Look, let's just look at that. You only get 3 attacks with the axe, but it's strength 7, AP 2 damage.
Yeah.
You're hitting on 3s because you've got a guy in there. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 up save base.
2 up save, T7, 4 up invuln, fight on death and a 4+.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
These don't kill things as much as you think they're gonna. They never have, but what they do is take an absolute punch to the face and still be there.
OC1's a little sad, but I think
Yeah.
any more of that and all the normies would run them and then they'd get nerfed. So we can't be having that. when all the bullshit gets nerfed, we can just pivot to playing full Wraith armies and do like
so fun.
pretty well with it.
Yeah, I reckon so.
All right. We don't need to look at the Wraith Lord. It is what you expect it to be.
It's very much what you expect.
Let's have a look at a little bit of jank that I quite enjoy.
Oh, yes.
Harlequins.
Ooh.
This is my pick for #1 Harlequin unit without seeing any points.
Nice.
Because they are fast. They're T4, 4-up save, 4-up invuln. 3 wounds, that's nice. OC2's pretty good. It's pretty standard for a bike, but you don't hate it at all. They're not bad in melee. 4 attacks each, hitting on 3, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. Wouldn't mind a bit more AP, but as a skirmishing unit, it's not bad. But they've got haywire cannons, and that's 2 shots.
Yeah.
Hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
Flat 3 damage.
Yeah.
Anti-vehicle 4+.
Yeah.
Devastating wounds.
Just very good.
Oh, that's so good. And you can take them in squads of 2 to 4. Like, this
can.
is such a good skirmishing unit.
Yeah.
I'm so jazzed about it.
It's nice. It's annoying as hell. Your opponent's going to have to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can also... Yeah, you can just be like, I'm never going to charge you. I'm just going to hit you with strength 3 attacks if you charge me, but I'll have another ranged weapon, which is strength 7, AP 2 damage.
Yeah.
That might just be the right choice, honestly.
I mean, they're great. They're very strong. I think basically with the Harlequins, I think the jury's probably still out on troops proper, but all the little utility pieces all look like they've got a very real role. The bikes, the Solitaire, the Death Jester, there's lots of cool stuff there.
Gilmaris, I will not have you maligning my name. I will have my pity party with the world's tiniest violin with my only OC1. How dare you?
Yeah. Who knows if they'll be able to clear stuff off objectives with this kind of mediocre firepower.
Absolutely.
They need as much objective play as they can possibly get.
Yeah, like you can go to Goonhammer and you can read the review. There's no point in me just going, and this unit's very good. So let's talk about the fun jank stuff. We may as well, because you're going to be talking about Eldar for a long time.
And you're going to have plenty of points to shove janky weird stuff in, because it's the core of this is just going to be so terrifying.
Yeah.
What's worse, anti and dev wounds, or dev wounds and twin linked? Well, Woozle, the Talos has all 3 of those, but we'll get to him later.
We have seen that previewed, haven't we? I saw that. I was like, haywire. That's
so
pretty
good.
neat.
Yeah.
That's why I was looking for this, to be honest, because I remembered that one there. Let's just do a couple more, because this is getting on into. It's actually, we're not doing too bad on time.
No, I think we've been pretty snappy. We've been all right.
Yeah. Death Jester. You're going to give him the enhancement to turn 1 die to a 6 after you've rolled it, which has just stayed.
Absolutely.
You're going to pick down here. Only 1 model can do it, but that's fine. You're only ever taking 1. You give him sustained hits 3. You roll your first dice. You roll your second dice. You use your reroll. You change 1 to a 6.
Yeah,
it's great. You love it.
He's got Strands of Fate too, as well. So anything you need to front load with this, you can now.
Oh god, like this is not the place that you want to use it. Like it's such a waste of Strands of Fate when you can just do mortal wounds out the arse.
Yeah,
but it's funny. Like it's real funny.
The saving grace here.
The
saving grace, and this is something I think some people won't necessarily appreciate, is that if you choose the sustained hits 3, you are not choosing precision.
That is true.
So this guy is not doing the dump a million shots on a character anymore. He can either be sniping or he can be doing the sustained hits. And I think people don't necessarily appreciate this. He is versatile, but actually not being able to have all 3 of those at once does drastically change what you're using him for, because the reason he existed in the list before was to dump a ton of shots onto characters, and he can't do that now.
Yeah, maybe it's just the way that I played. I don't think, apart from once, which was really stupid positioning, he ever shot my characters. But God, did he ruin my units.
Oh, you positioned well, though. You're a good positioner, you.
Oh, talk dirty to me with your positional play.
Getting flirty in the Xenos chat.
Let's do 2 more here. We'll do a quick one. Visage.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know what he does? He goes in all of these squads.
He leads whatever the fuck he wants, is what he leads.
He does. And you know why that's good? Because he gives fights first.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then he gives some buffs to himself. I don't care. Like, sure, he's AP4. That's not a thing
he's
anymore.
Certainly killy, isn't he?
Yeah, he slaps down characters. Don't care. He fights first.
Oh, nice.
So I can see him most with Witches or Troop. Everyone else is a bit less exciting.
Yeah.
Guardian Defenders. Neat.
Yeah, so Visage with Troop, then actually, that's...
it's not bad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
and you
That
don't
is
have to take Yunari to take that. So
You don't.
not at the moment.
I like that they've written it so badly that Yunari is essentially just where you dump all of it rather than a specific sort of way of branching off. They're just yeah, you can chuck all of this together and just see what the fuck happens if you like.
Absolutely. And then we've got the Star Weaver, and it's got the strat jank. After you fought in the fight phase, at the end of the fight phase,
it's nice.
Get back in a transport. Really nice.
It's very nice.
Just very quickly, I will have a whinge here about the Autarch, because isn't it cool? He can target the unit with a strat even if you already used one. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't, reduce the CP, but down here you gain a CP in your command phase. These are really good rules. Then you've got loads of options, and he can join Guardians.
That is an absolute catastrophe.
There, look at all, like, you can give him.
That is just an enormous fuck up.
A Howling Banshee mask.
Yeah.
And he can't join Howling Banshees.
Yeah.
You can give him Manda Blasters, and he can't join Scorpions. You can take one with wings. You know who he can join? Literally no one. Which, ironically, I think in this meta makes him a really good pick, because he's.
I like the idea, the Autarch who has walked all the many parts of the Eldari, mastered the ways of fighting. He goes, guys, I'm going back to hang out with the bakers. I've had enough of your shit. I want to lead the fucking candlestick makers around on the front line. Can't be doing with you talented lads.
The really edgy one just goes, you know what, fuck you all. I'm just going to sit on my own. Which I think in this indirect meta is really good, because you can't get non-line of sight killed, and he just hangs on an objective, farms UCP, and then goes and does stuff late game.
Yeah, he's good. There's a few characters like this in the game now where it's like, really, they're just nice by just hiding and being a buff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, we will call it there. How are we feeling about Eldar?
Look, Eldar are nuts. It's nuts. Yeah. It's like someone just didn't give them anything like the same treatment as anybody else. If you compare what we've seen in this in terms of AP and damage to what we just looked at in Votann, it's nuts. It's completely nuts. And unless points are extortionate, then they're just in a league of their own. And I think everybody sees that. Everybody sees that. There's so much in here, so many ways to be non-interactive and to push massive amounts of aggro in combat and shooting. And at the moment, they've made no effort to bound this off into different camps or stop you from just pulling all the very best of it wherever you want it. So yeah, it's quite horrifying. It's going to be incredibly strong, probably for a while. And that's going to be the way of it, I think. I think we still need to see how Marines go into it. I think Marines can bring a lot of artillery to the party.
Yeah, I can't believe that they made fucking Desolation Marines better than they were last edition.
Yeah, but it does on the face of it feel substantially stronger, just because of the chunks of mortal wounds it can put in places. As scary as Marines look, it's not quite the same in that regard, but we'll see.
Yeah, it might end up being a bit of a who goes first.
Oh, inevitably. That looks like the meta for these top armies at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will go on to something a bit more balanced, which is Necrons.
Crons.
I played Necrons in 8th. Really enjoyed them. I played them when Marines were at their peak, and I had a winning record into them at events. And that was something I was very proud of, because Marines were busted. They were the busted army. And then they came out in 9th, and I was like, cool, they're getting a new book. I'm really excited for it. Because I took a break and I came back in 8th, I had not realized how bad books written at the start of an edition were. My God, that was such a sad book. However, initial thoughts on this, I'm pretty jazzed.
I like the look of it. Yeah,
it's going to take me a while to get around to them, but I'm enjoying, the look of what we've got here. Reanimation protocols obviously is back. You either heal D3 wounds or you heal a model. You can't heal multiple models just with the base rule. Funnily enough, there's a lot of way that this rule is interacted with. So it's way better than it was previously, because previously it was just a feel no pain-ish that was really good for 1 wound models, and anything with 3 wounds or more just like almost never got any models back. Now it's a lot more balanced. Happens in the command phase. You're going to heal back loads of models, and you're going to score more points in the command phase. So that's going to be a good... Yeah. And I really disliked this rule when I saw it. When you've got a character, yes. So
I know why your mind changed.
So +1 to hit if a character's leading a unit, and I saw that I was like,
seems very situational, doesn't it, Ed?
No. So that's funnily enough, that's not why I hated it. I hated it because I looked at it, I was like, oh, they've made everything worse, and then they've just put a conditional army rule in, and then you're going to play a different detachment. You're going to be really sad when all your stuff hits on 4s. Spoiler, that's not what happened.
Okay.
Warriors hit on 4s, but a lot of stuff in here hits on 3s natively. So you're just like, cool, I hit on 2s. So my dislike of this was purely based on I thought that they'd made Necrons worse across the board.
Sweet.
I mean, what were you?
Do you want to take us down to the enhancements, and I'll show you what I think about that rule?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Sovereign Coronal. Aura.
Oh wow, it's almost like we knew what we were talking about.
Necrons model only. While a friendly Necrons unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, that unit counts as being led by a Necrons character model. So that character boost is going to be in more places if you want it to be.
Yep.
And this means that units within range of this aura ability will benefit from the command protocols ability and will count as containing a character for the purposes of any Awakened Dynasty stratagems. When we get to the stratagems, you will see it is very nice to count as if you had a character model in your unit. You have a nice little aura to put it where you need it to be.
The only sad thing is you can't stack it with this Feel No Pain and put it on a battle barge and just roll around with like that legitimately would be fantastic. But as it is, you just put it in a tanky squad and you're like, this is fun.
It's good. You're gonna you don't want to lose this character because it's a big buff to lose, but it's also a massive buff to have.
Absolutely.
Do you want to take one of the others?
Yeah, while we're here, for Feel No Pain. This is going on.
Lovely.
Like, unless we're in the most precision meta of all sniping metas, you don't really care about putting this on a squad. You are going to put this on someone who is, only T8 flying around with a 4-pin von and mini transhuman.
Thinking with my my Index loopholes not covered hat on.
Okay.
Have they stopped you putting this on a Catan?
No.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be fixed because this has been fixed in every edition.
They always do it.
Yeah,
but they don't do it in time, do they?
Yeah. I'm hoping this gets fixed very quickly.
Yeah.
Because the Sovereign Coronal on, for example, any of them, but let's say the Void Dragon because he's got the biggest base.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rule. I think they're going to fix it.
Yeah, sure.
But yes, no, you're absolutely
Veil
right.
of Darkness is here as well. And so you can still Veil of Darkness. Now, there's a general tendency. They've changed all of these ones that used to be you bleep bloop teleport in your turn.
Yep.
And now, at the end of your opponent's turn, you go back up in the sky and then you come down. And I think the reasoning for this is that sudden teleporty catch you out thing is a classic what some would term gotcha moment, right? People feel very like, fuck, you just teleported and diddled me with your Necrons. Now you're going to see those plays coming a lot more because they're signposted a little bit better. A lot of these teleports or redeploys are happening at the end of your turn rather than your opponent's just doing that to you in the movement phase. And I think that's the rationale of changing stuff like this a little bit.
So I don't know if I agree because you still don't get to interact with it because it's at the end of your turn. You can't do anything between then and when they come in the reinforcements phase.
No, absolutely not. But you just have a little bit more time to know it's coming.
The thing that I think it might be for, and I could be wrong here, is it stops you alpha striking if you go first.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Use it at the end of your opponent's turn.
Because this is why I keep you around, man. That's exactly why it's done like that.
I think so. Yeah,
I'm full of shit. You should have my job.
I don't know if I want to be HR. I don't. Like
no, you probably don't.
Very, very quickly, the last one is models in the unit gain stealth, and everyone not within 12 inches gets cover. So, sorry, I've worded that terribly. Basically, you get stealth and you get cover if you're more than 12
Which is great, as long as you're not going into a hail of re-rolling, no ignoring, covering stuff. So,
we're
not none of that around. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. There's definitely none of that.
Let's wade through some strats. And again, remember as we go through this that if you're near that Coronal relic, you are getting the second bonus as well as the first, and that is not locked into units specifically with characters. So, Protocol of the Eternal Guardian. Can I also say it's nice to see the protocols returning here? And probably stratagems was maybe all they ever needed to be. Whatever the hell they did with the last protocols were a bit of a mess.
Yes.
So this one's fun. Any phase, Necron's infantry character dies, just comes back.
Only half the wounds, though.
No roll, no point of failure here. Just comes back with half his wounds. Can only do it to each one once per battle. But that's great. That's just really nice. Just really good to have. Characters are going to get punked a lot more this time around. That's a super cool thing to have.
And there's going to be more characters. So you're going to be able to use it on a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Then we've got Hungry Void, which is fight phase, +1 strength. If you've got a character or the aura nearby, +1 AP. Oh, hey, it's Novok in a tin.
Yeah, Novok in a little tin. That's the dream. Very nice. And again, if you're buddying up around that aura, anything can get this. It's not just the attached characters. So, Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant is the shooting phase. And if you are shooting at a unit within half range, you can reroll the wound roll. If led by a character, you can full reroll to wound at full range.
Goddamn, you know who that's really good on? Destroyers.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Very, very nice on Destroyers.
You know what you used to do? You used to pay 2 CP to reroll all wounds, and you were fucking jazzed about it. And you know what you do now? You pay 1 CP to reroll all wounds, and you're fucking jazzed about it.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I love this. I saw this.
The power in these is pretty substantial.
Absolutely, yeah. And they're all 1 CP as well, which is really
delightful.
Nice to just slam those out over and over again.
Because there's quite a few Vex in the game now, so 2 CP ones are in a perilous place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But speaking of great stratagems that you're going to slam over and over again, in your opponent's shooting or fight phase, you can't do it in your fight phase if you charge and you get hit back. But one unit that has just had one or more of its models destroyed, it activates reanimation protocols. If you've got a character in the squad, you get D3 +1 wounds back. That's great. That's really good.
That's super nice.
Obviously, this does let you bring back a model. Or if you have warriors, bring back multiple models. So we're going to be daisy chaining onto some objectives here, my boy. This is how you get around the fight phase, pile in, consolidate, make it difficult to get onto objectives. You just let them kill you and then come back. Big fan of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Jack says, I'm considering Cypher as a backfield objective holder and vect carrier.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's pointed right, get him in. Absolutely get him in. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just really nice to have. And you know what you'll be vecting? Flipping Overwatch. The way things are looking at the moment, if you can just make Overwatch a bit more expensive, that is going to go a long way in these early months.
Buddy, yes, it is. Unless the way that it works is that the reduction to 0 CP on some units.
Yeah, that we need to see. I'm hoping that does at least make that cost still, but we'll see.
I agree. I hope that it goes up to 1 from 0.
Yeah. Necron's shooting better than Tau as well. Well, shorter range, Gilmaris, I guess. But
I don't know if I'd say it's better. I think you can have one really nice tooled up unit, but Tau can have multiple.
Necron's always had like that one heavy hitting destroyer brick in there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Protocol of the Sudden Storm, 1 CP, ranged weapons have assault, and you can re-roll your advance rolls if you've got a character in there. So as current, that means you get to advance and do actions, which it's got to change. Like 100% it's going to change, but I'm going to say it every time this comes up. It's so funny.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Oh, man.
And then this one's fun. Protocol of the Vengeful Stars. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has resolved its attacks. If you have had any models destroyed as a result of those attacks, you shoot back. Really fun. And if a character's leading your unit, you get ignore cover.
Yeah.
Nice. It's nice to shoot back.
Hold on. This is really good for destroyers.
And
this is really good for destroyers.
Yes, it is.
And this is really good for destroyers.
Yes, it is.
And this is really good for destroyers.
It also is, yes.
And, okay. 4 out of 6.
Rate spam it is. Let's make it happen.
I did look at the rates. I was like, I'm sad.
No, they're fine. It's a shooty destroyer book, this one, by the look of it.
It does feel like that, which, to be honest, I'm kind of here for.
Yeah, the running theme, incidentally, with the indexes so far is that a bunch of armies that didn't shoot so good shoot pretty good. A bunch of armies that did shoot so good, except Eldar, shoot a bit worse. And Eldar are just like, fucking whatever the hell you want.
Eldar on the face of it didn't shoot well. You kind of have to understand how they work by playing them a couple of times to see how they it's especially with like fucking Yanari. You look at them, you're like, but this doesn't do any damage, and then you get tabled in 3 turns. You go, what?
Yeah.
So
that's true. People underestimate them for quite a while.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Did you have any standout units, Ed?
I actually really struggled here because there was a lot of stuff that I was like, this is just cool. So these are my biased picks for things that I like. Keep in mind, I played Tesla
That's pretty
Spam.
much what I did with the Votan as well.
Yeah, Tesla Spam in 8th edition. I loved it so much. And it's back. It's back, baby, in a big way. Like, Strength 5 AP 0 is now a competent profile because cover does not increase a 3-up save to a 2-up. This is huge. We will see if we have any 3-up saves in the meta, or if we just go straight 2-up and fuck you for not having 2-up saves. But if not, I really like this. It's assault. There's now no penalty to assault, so you're not punished for running forwards. You have sustained hits 2. You've got a ballistic skill of 3. This is what really made me jazzed about them. If you've got a character in there, you're hitting on 2s just all of the time. On your 6s to hit, you're exploding. Like, this is great. They reroll all their wounds if they're shooting something on an objective, or reroll 1s the rest of the time. Like, this is just a really good profile. You've got 5-inch move, which is T5 is nice. Still only 1 wound. I wouldn't have hated seeing them go up to 2, but OC2, 3-up save, they're fine. I'm expecting them to be not too expensive. You can give them the Gorse. I don't think you would. But what you probably do want to do is combo them with this chap here, the Plasmancer, because on an unmodified hit roll of a 5+, you get a critical hit. You're Teslaing on 5s now. Oh, God, that is so big. That's, hold on. So you're getting 6 hits on a, so you're getting 9 hits out of 6 possible. So you rough napkin maths, you roll 10 dice, you get 15 hits. That's basically what it's coming down to. Funnily enough, that's quite good for weighted dice.
That is really good, yeah.
Because you're going to be rolling 20 dice and getting 30 hits. He's no slouch himself. You know, he's got some attacks at strength 7. AP3 is really nice. 2 damage. I believe he gets the +1 ballistic skill for being a leader in the squad himself. I'd have to double check that one.
That is nice, yeah.
Otherwise, hitting on 4s is it's whatever. The range is the same. And then in combat, weirdly, he's also still okay.
Oh my word!
Whatever.
Yeah.
He does a little bit of mortal wounds. It's the classic roll a d6 for each model on a 6.
Yeah, I mean that's fun into big bricks. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, like even just plinking a couple of mortal wounds into the Terminators every turn. If you take, for example, 3 of these because you're spamming immortals, I don't know if that's good.
But they really need to think about just capping all the characters, don't they? Like, it's going to be really silly if it's like triple of every little buff character everywhere. But...
Yeah, but I'm kind of here for cheap buff characters, so I hope that's kind of how they go. Yeah, lovely. So then I was like, unfortunately, because all of the things that are good are buffed by characters, I kind of want to see more characters. So I've got here a Technomancer.
Boom.
He gives a fill up 5-up, fill a pain 5-up. It's good. Ela Wuzzle says Assassination exists.
It does.
That is true. I'm just going to bring so many characters that you can't kill me. Gonna keep that 1 unit of Sniper Scouts real fucking busy, and then use my CP to get them back up. But yeah, so this is basically the equivalent of the Chronomancer, who gave a 5-up invuln. He doesn't do that anymore, but now you've got a 5-up Feel No Pain. This is better on 1 wound models because you're still getting the 5-up save, and then you're also potentially getting an armor save. So this is just a really nice rule. It also gives you D3 lost wounds within 3 inches. I don't think that lets you res models. I think it's literally just a heal, but that's fine. You can give him the fly keyword, so he moves 10. That lets you extend your charges in a weird way, because although it gives you an option, you don't have to. You still keep the leader keyword. You can buff up Canop Tech as well if you want to. You don't have to do that. And you can go into Immortals, Lich Guard, and Warriors, which are 3 pretty good squads you want to put him in.
Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah. What else did I have? We did talk about the Lockhurst Destroyers, but let's just have a look.
I mean, we need to see what's going on there, right?
Yeah.
That's the Lockhurst Lord.
So if we start off with the Lord, he is...
Oh, yeah, Christ.
Pretty decent. His shooting's whatever. His melee's whatever. But he gives crit hits on a 5. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
That is
And
really nice.
if you're shooting, this is just him. You re-roll hits and wounds. So that's just like, oh, he really fucking hates you. Cool. Then you can choose to either take a phylactery, which is a 5 feel of pain, or a res orb, which is just you resurrect models not only in your command phase but in your opponent's command phase. If bricks of 6 destroyers are tanky enough, then this is going to be really frustrating to deal with.
Yeah.
And who can he join? Oh, he can join destroyers. Well,
Yeah.
are they any good? Yeah, I think so. The profile, they lost a pip of AP in an edition where everyone did. Everything else is the same. Strength 24-inch range, 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, which is 2s when you've got a character joining, which is real nice.
And lethal hits. Yeah.
Lethal hits is nice, especially because they're going to crit on 5s. That makes it so that you might not even need to spend the CP to deal with light vehicles.
You just know you're putting a certain amount of damage on.
Absolutely. Strength, AP 2 damage, rerolling 1s to hit against the closest eligible enemy unit.
Near perfect accurate efficiency if you're firing the nearest thing. That's amazing.
Absolutely. They're a little slower than they used to be. 7-inch move. I think if you're playing this, you probably want to at least give one squad the Veil.
Yeah. The age-old
Pretty
Destroyer Veil 1-2. Lovely. Yeah, super good.
You love it. You love it.
And that's all there is to see from the shooting destroyers, right, Ed?
Well, I guess there is another squad.
What?
Which I'll be honest, I'm less enthused about, but they are pretty good.
Goodness.
When I see a model that has a single shot gun, it makes me go, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I get a little nervous.
Damage 6 though.
It is damage 6.
14.
What I do love is that you've got like real parity here, so it's either damage 6 or 6 attacks, 1 attack or 1 damage. It's the flip there. They've obviously mirrored it deliberately. It gets to reroll wounds of 1 with the exterminators against infantry, and then with the big gun, reroll 1s against vehicles. It's good. It's a pretty good profile. Good. I don't think you even care about attaching characters to them. You just float them somewhere, sit them still. They're heavy, so they're hitting on 2s anyway. You just, chuck them downwind. You're not upset at that. There is a unit that I wasn't expecting to see being good. Argod Oberon. You know why he's good?
Why?
It gives fights first.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Who can he hang out with?
The good units.
Oh, there we go. Look at that.
It's Lichguard.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. So
he looks like one you might want to convert for your collection rather than necessarily picking up the current GW resin version.
Don't you enjoy this bent staff that is curling up in his hands? It's definitely not really poor quality resin.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Fights first is nice.
He also kind of slaps. Like this is I'm gonna have a little rant about this in a second, but he can snipe characters, he's dev wounds, hitting on 2s, strength 8, AP 3, 2 damage. That's good.
That's great. That is
He also bodyguards Nemesis Andrek, who I will quickly show you just for completeness, but I don't think you take him. He's mad, so he can roll a d6 and give that squad an ability, the one that he's in. He can counter tactics, so he can vect, which is cool.
That is nice.
Like he's a lord. He's going to be like what 120, 140. You can just give them like some weird jank buff.
Yeah, it's random, isn't it?
I'm not about that life.
Yeah.
And when you get the one that you want, it falls off, and then next turn you get the one that you don't want, and you're just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's not for me. But he's pretty good. Very last thing I'm going to talk about. I just want to have a quick rant. Games Workshop, what the fuck? Like, why are we looking at 3 and 4 attacks? This is not Necron design space. Necron design space is they are, a shambling undead horde. They get back up. They're implacable. We're not even going to talk about the leadership issues in this book because I think they wanted to make Battleshock work. That's fine. I can deal with it. Why are they worse than a Space Marine captain in combat? Why is every
dynastic
Necron
overseers, right? They should be able to fight.
Literally fought gods. The war in heaven.
Yeah.
Survived for millennia. Have the knowledge of aeons. 4 attacks. Or if you want a good weapon, 3 attacks that hits on 3s. Like fucking what?
Strength 12 on a combat weapon is pretty funny, to be fair.
Yeah. And you get 3 attacks with it.
Yeah.
And you miss on a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, it's true.
Like everything else that the characters have is great. Like So he lets you target a unit with a strat for 0 CP. That's good. We know that's good. Resorbs, that's a great rule. He's reasonably tanky. But like, just can you make them not anemic in melee? I don't think I even highlighted this Destroyer Lord. Where's he at? Scorpec Lord. Here we go. His big profile only has 4 attacks. Look at him. Look at him. Are you telling me that this guy has 4 attacks?
He just screams death, doesn't he? That guy.
Like, I would have much preferred to see 4 attacks on this and then extra attacks 4 on the flensing floor. And they were like, cool, whatever. I can deal with that. It's not a problem.
Hey, does some mortals on the charge, though.
Woo.
Sick.
Fucking great. Also, he's got lethal hits, which is anti-synergy because your Scorpex, the plasma sites give dev wounds per turn. So you're going to get lethal hits and then get less dev wounds. So,
nice.
Like, this is a miss for me.
Yeah.
All right. But
all in all, though, how are you feeling about them?
I'm quite jazzed because the things that I enjoy are good. We didn't even show it off. I love the Doomsday Cannon. I've got 3 of them. I'm so glad that it's just a better profile now. It's no longer the mildly inconvenient Tuesday Cannon as it has been for the last 5+ years. If you move, you don't cry.
I feel like these are going to cause some problems. I think this is a tough
them.
set of things.
Really like them.
There's good output here, and once you factor in regeneration and stuff as well, I think that's nasty.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll move on to Drukhari, which is over to you, my man.
Ed, I'm going to quickly grab a drink.
All right.
And as soon as I've done that, we will get right into the Drukhari. Feel free to style through some kind of very, very brief break.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, man. I mean, I don't know about you guys. A fair few of you in the chat have been here with me, when I've been doing my solo streams, and I've been pushing 3.5 hours. What a part-timer. He's just left. We're not even 2 hours in. Disgraceful behavior. We'll have to have words. But that's absolutely reasonable. It's a little bit disappointing because I was planning on doing the exact thing that he's just done. I was going to pass this over to him and be like, cool, talk about the rules, my man. I'm going to get a drink. So never mind. We'll pretend that all is good and he'll come back. Halo Wazzle says points are going to be interesting tomorrow. Yes, they are. People have been talking. The nice thing about going to loads of events is people get to know you, and then they like to tell you things if they know, because people like to feel like they're well connected. So people have been telling me little bits and pieces about 10th coming up, which has been really fun. Nightspin is the one that I've had to bite my tongue on the most, because like that's so bonkers. But points is something that nobody's told me anything about, so I'm interested to see how points go. Pin the win rate on the faction on Tuesday. Absolutely. I think that is where we're going with this one. I think we might be wrapping up the last one and doing the next one, but I'll be honest, I have not been looking at that group chat because I've been too busy sitting in front of this screen and then going to bed absolutely wiped out. Simon says, no staying power. Simon, you know it. You've been here as long as I have, and you haven't needed to go get a drink. I say, full of confidence without having any knowledge.
Here we go.
We were just shit talking you.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm useless. Yeah, I'm a lightweight. I'm sure. I hope that's been commented on.
So the funny thing is, I was like, we've been here for 2 hours. I did a solo stream for ages. Anyway, the reason I'm upset is this is what I wanted to do. So I'm going to leave you with this screen, and I'm going to go get a drink while you.
Wonderful. I will take us through the initial bits of the rules then. Off you go.
Perfect. In a bit.
Okay, Darkkin fans, here we go. So Drukhari, this is an interesting index. It's pivoted a little bit away from combat towards shooting, but there's a lot of raw power here, and most of that comes from power from pain. This is your army rule, and essentially what you get is a bunch of pain tokens. You get 3 for a 2,000 point game to start off with, but there's more that you get via the real space ray, which we'll talk about in a moment as well. So there's a lot of ways to generate these. And you can empower your units. When you destroy things, you gain another pain token. When the enemy fails battle shot, you gain another pain token. So it's very good into armies with lots of units that are going to be dying. Slightly less good into high sort of quality elite armies. And that kind of feels about right for the Drukhari. That feels super thematic to me. So you can spend these tokens in a few different ways. You can empower yourself in the movement or charge phase to get rerolls to your advance or rerolls to your charge. Really nice. Helps with delivery. But the real money is in empowering your shooting or your fighting, because you just straight up get full rerolls to hit, which is pretty sweet. Okay, that is really, really, really nice. I think Drukhari are just one of those armies. I mean, anyone who's played them will know you've often got a limited number of very good quality shots, especially things like Dark Lances. So being able to say, I'm just probably going to hit with all of these, really, really good. Makes things at range really slap. And it just means in combat that you're getting your hits through. And I think with the melee, as we'll see, there's a limit to how far that takes you because there's not much in here that's going to trouble high toughness targets. But I think it really, really amps up the shooting in particular. And if you're playing elves right, you're sticking out, you're amping up a unit, you're killing a thing, then you're getting the token. So it just keeps paying for itself over the game. Generation feels very generous, and you're going to have a lot of this. You're going to have a lot of rerolls over the game. I think it's an extremely powerful thing. Elawuz pin the win rate on the faction on Tuesday. You bet we're doing that on Tuesday. That is exactly what we're going to be doing next week. And yeah, you're right. Points will be interesting. Points are going to shape a few of these armies. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say on it. So yeah, that's Power from Pain. Very powerful rule. And I shall just wait for Ed to get back and play for time on this. I think general outline thoughts on Drukhari whilst I'm here are just that there's a few things like army-wide deep strike on the vehicles that really do change how you want to do this. I think this is I feel like it's a beta strike army. Depending on the boards, I feel like it's going to do a really nice job at just suddenly dropping a bunch of gunboats down, shoving a bunch of Power from Pain tokens on things, and just rinsing what it can see. And I think that hopefully gives it a bit of a game into some of the armies that will be looking to do a lot of their damage via indirect, because you can decide the moment you're going to turn up and when you're going to get stuck in. So here is the detachment rule. It's a bit bland, but it is very useful. Real Space Raiders. If you have an Archon, a Succubus, Homunculus, for each one of those you bring, only one for each, of course, you get an additional pain token. I think the way this is set up, you can very easily have 3 of these. So you're going to have 6 pain tokens to start. That's massive. I was very lucky. I was able to review this index for Goonhammer, so I was very fortunate to be involved in the sort of behind the scenes process of sort of getting this to release. And one of the things we noticed during that process was that Lilith and Urian Rakath did not have the Homunculus and Succubus keywords, and we were able to get that changed. So they do have that. So that means you don't need to bring a Succubus or a Homunculus if you like the look of Lilith or Urian Rakath. You will still get extra pain tokens with this attachment, which is super good.
Why you bring that up, Tom? Did someone point that out to you?
Yeah, someone did. Someone did point that out to me as something I'd missed in the review. But what had happened is that Games Workshop had listened to us, changed it, and just not told us they'd done it. And they've done that with a few things, and a few things you'll all be very grateful they've changed, but maybe not quite enough things. Great. Here are the stratagems. My opinions on this going in are this is much less exciting than a lot of the stratagem suites that other armies have got. And the primary reason for this is that they've divided it up across Witch Cult, Cabal, and Coven, which when you've got 6 to start with, hurts. Okay, that hurts. The good news is they're all good and you will use them on stuff, but I think you're just going to find the options you have with this are narrower as a result, okay?
Ironically, that means that they're going to be really susceptible to Vect.
Yeah, they are.
They initially had the strat.
They are susceptible to Vect. They definitely are. So here's what you got. You got Prey on the Weak for Cabalites. If you're targeting a below half strength unit, full rerolls to wound. Tidy. Very nice. If you haven't quite managed to punk something with a sort of Power from Pain jazzed up unit, you've got another one on hand. You finish the job.
Just to quickly contextualize this, transports with firing decks now count as having the weapons. There's no shooting a unit and shooting the inside unit. Yeah. So when you've got all your Darklight in a squad inside a transport, you've got a lot of guns and you're spending 1 CP for all of them.
So picture the scene, right? You fired your Ravager. You've got some Dark Lances through. You've crocked a Dreadnought, but it's still clinging on. And then you go, here comes Cabalites in a boat. Prey on the Weak. Blam, blam, blam. Get in the bin. It's good. Mm-hmm. It is good. It's situational in some ways, but I think Cabal look probably like the way you go. As a starting point with this book. It feels like a Cabal shooting book, if I'm honest. And this is just going to be useful if you've got a bunch of shooting Cabal units on the board. Acrobatic Display, Advance and Charge on Witches. Now, obviously, we had Advanced Charge army-wide not so long ago, but it's still nice to be able to have it on Witch Cult units. Makes them a bit speedier, helps them get where they want to go, and they can fall back in charge as well with it. So, yeah, it's nice for your Witch Cult, helps them get where they need to be.
Absolutely.
Next up, Strike and Fade. If it looks like you've seen this before, it's because you have. It's the same Fire and Fade that we've seen in various different iterations in other places. Very nice for Drukhari, where you've got gunboats you want to keep safe, pop a Ravager out, jump behind cover, whatever else. It's good. 2 CP is expensive, but it's really good.
So I've just checked. Oh no, never mind. The wording's slightly different. I thought the Eldar one didn't have that keyword, but it just had it in the restrictions saying that you can't target an aircraft.
Yeah.
So
that would have been funny. All right, let's keep it rolling. So, okay, my favorite one, my actual favorite one, and I am biased because I'm a pro Coven guy. Insensible to pain. This is a -1 to wound on a Coven unit that's being shot or fought. That's great. That's great. Talos and Kronos are nice. Racks are your sort of on Grotessa for holding ground. Being able to make these -1 to wound is super nice. They all hit a really nice set of different toughness breakpoints, and this you will find ways to make this very annoying across a game if you lean into Coven. Alliance of Agony is quite a funny one. Start of any phase: 1 Archon, 1 Succubus, 1 Homunculus. Discard a Pain token, and then all 3 are empowered. That's quite a buy-in, I would say. Pain token and CP, and using all 3 units, which are often radically different in terms of how they're tooled and what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This is the one that feels the most situational of the strats. Could be good, but doesn't feel as immediately obviously useful to me as some of the others. And you have to be able to select all 3 of the targets stated at once. So that does impact it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then finally, Quicksilver reactions, lightning fast, -1 to hit. So I think I give the strats a solid 6 out of 10. There's some nice stuff in there. It's locked in certain ways that limits it a bit. And there are, Alliance of Agony, I don't know, we'll have to see how often this actually gets used. And when you're starting with 6 strats, having one where you're already looking at it being like, is that going to happen? Is that ever going to happen? I thought the purpose of these was to cut down so we didn't have those. But hey, you'll have a great thematic moment where your 3 squads with your 3 characters go into something and all start re-rolling hits and doing whatever else they want to do.
If this lasted for the entire turn,
it
would be much more compelling.
Yeah,
because one of them wants to shoot, 2 of them want to melee.
Yeah,
but,
the Archon's a bit confused in that regard. Yeah, for sure. Great. Okay, so some units to pick out. What have I gone with for this? So we've got. Let's go to 33 and have a look at the Ravager.
Oh,
okay. Ravager, toughness 9, 11 wounds, movement 14. Dark Lance is a D6 plus 2 damage gun, strength 12, AP 3, 1 shot, 36-inch range, which is very nice. So what's happening with this boy? Well, with pain tokens, you're going to hit with those Dark Lances most of the time. With Cabal, you'll notice if you're trying to finish off a wounded unit, you can get your wounds through with the rerolls as well. So this benefit's very nice from the Cabal shooting units. What else does the Ravager have? It deep strikes now. So gone are the days of, you killed all my Ravagers before I got to do anything. I suspect most Ravagers are not going to be starting games on the board. They will be jumping in, getting angles, blasting hard targets. And to help them do this, they have built-in Eradicate the Foe. So if they're targeting a fully healthy unit, they reroll hit rolls of 1. So even without pain token support, these are pretty good. These are pretty accurate. And I think they're in a nice spot.
Invulnerable save of 6. That stings.
Yeah. So this is the big issue with Drukhari, and this is why I'm talking up a beta strike, is that you can't take a punch, guys. You can't. Your stuff's going to die. Stuff's going to die. We were already very fragile. Anyone who's played Drukhari in the last couple of years has seen how fragile they are. They were like, let's make them more fragile. Why not? Let's do it. So you need to hit very hard on your terms and get the job done, probably in a big go turn. If only you had, 6 or 7 tokens to give everything full shooting efficiency for 1 turn. Wait, you do have that. So
good job. You can only use 1 per turn, right?
Good. Yeah. Or maybe just go nuts. I like the Ravager. I think it's going to be a bit of a workhorse at range, getting things done. And I like I think one of the issues I'm seeing with Drukhari in general is that I just think Overwatch and various moving around shenanigans make getting stuck in close very dangerous and very difficult. So it's really nice to have guns where you can do the work without getting into that scary Overwatch range, if possible.
Sure.
Nice one. Cool. So next up, I had Lilith, 27. All right, Lilith slaps. You've seen her already. Just look at this. It's silly. It's 8 attacks, double exploding 6s to hit, sustained hits, anti-infantry 2 up. A lot of AP2 damage, 1 flying through. With Brides of Death, she makes the witch squad she's fighting with +1 strength, +1 AP. That's very nice. Gives it fight first as well. Also very nice. And then once per battle, she just goes to 12 attacks and has a 3-up invuln. So she's going to help a witch unit dance. I think the bad news, guys, we'll get to witches towards the end, is that I just don't see a role for witches in combat without Lilith now. They need those buffs. But a squad of 10 with Lilith, very, very good.
That kind of feels like how it was at the end of the 9th. You weren't taking Lilith, but you were taking only one squad of blood brides, and you weren't taking anything else.
This is like having a blood bride squad with a cool leader, right? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting off of this, and I'm here for it. I don't think you want a ton of combat units in Drukhari right now, but I think you do want Lilith with some witches, just for going and hustling off objectives and making a mess.
Fucking 12 attacks. That's
12 attacks in theory, with full rerolls to hit. In theory, fishing for double exploding 6s, and then wounding infantry on 2s. I haven't done it yet, but this feels like what, 15, 16 wounds.
Hold on, off the top of the head. So you're going 6, 12, then you're getting out of the other 8, call it 7, conservatively call it 6. Let's say you've got 18 hits, and that's conservatively. I think it's like 18.4 or something.
Yeah.
Man, that's not bad.
That's pretty yummy. That's pretty yummy stuff. And I think the nice thing about this is she cares not... Well, okay, hold on. If we assume that we're living in the real world and -1 damage isn't actually going to reduce damage to 0, that's the world I'm living in.
Yes.
Then she's very, very good, irrespective of damage reduction. If we are living in that world, she's pointless. So we'll see.
Well, to be fair, there's not that much -1 damage. It's been talked a big game.
No, there's a few places though. There's enough where you wouldn't want to have your entire witch cult unit literally not exist as a damaging entity.
That is true. Have you pulled out the witch cult unit to go with her? Have we got that one there?
Well, yeah. Let's pull witches out because it's quite topical. Because they're actually my worst pick.
Let's go straight there then.
Without Lilith, witches suck. So they are 53.
Lovely. Near the end.
Look at this mess. So, 6-up save, 6-up invuln, T3, strength 3, AP 1, damage 1 with 3 attacks each.
It's a 4-up invuln in melee, so this is where they have
it's a 4-up invuln in melee, but that's where the Overwatch problem becomes very real, right? You've got to get there, and any Overwatch is going to annihilate a witch squad that doesn't have someone like casually annihilate a witch squad that doesn't have, let's say, Lilith to potentially tank incidental shooting. Yeah, it's not good.
That's so bad.
So they're strength 4 AP 2 with Lilith, but they are genuinely anemic without her. Absolutely anemic without her. -1 damage reducing to 0 could decrease some lethality. Yeah, maybe in theory, or maybe it just gives an anvil for very lethal armies to pivot off. We'll see. Let's see what they do with it.
It'll decrease if mortal wounds count as 1 damage. Because maybe they just rule it the opposite way to what we were expecting, and they go, no,
maybe.
it is uncapped, but mortal wounds can be reduced. So
maybe. The other thing with witches is they don't trap anymore. They just prompt desperate escape tests when falling back. So
they can't be bad though. They've got grenades.
They do have grenades. But it's a long fall from where they were before. Less attacks, less strength, less AP, and very dependent on Lilith, I think, to do work. And that's fine, but it's a little bit sad.
It's like they looked at the base data sheet and forgot that they'd been really heavily relying on combat drugs.
Exactly that, yeah. Which don't really appear here in any meaningful sense. The succubus gives combat drugs, but it's only gives her squad fights first when empowered. And she gives them some other minor boost, but it's not strength, crucially. So they're just hitting at strength 3. So they're bullies now. They're not going to do anything in a serious fight. Drazar, page 15.
He's got to be good, right?
He's all right. I mean, let's remember that we're coming down from a double fighting +1 to wound 10 attack monster here. So if we accept that he's not that anymore, what he is now,
he's not far off that.
He's pretty good.
He's got +1 to wound.
He does give +1 to wound to an incubi unit. So you want Draz for an incubi unit, I would say. I don't think an incubi unit is going to pull up trees without him. Draz with incubi can continue to trouble lots of things. Let's put it that way. Lots of things. And then vicious execution. Once per battle, when it's selected to fight, it can just switch it up to precision. So just punk a character. If it kills the character, you gain D3 pain tokens. That's very nice. And if it's the warlord, you get 3. And he is still durable. He's still got a 4-up invuln, still got 5 wounds, still got a 2-up save. So he can tank some stuff for an incubi unit, keep them alive in the face of enemy attacks. devastating wounds on his single blade is quite funny because every now and again, 3 mortals, 6 mortals, get it done. And then twin linked on his dual blades. And all I have to say is that GW are cowards for not just putting those 2 profiles together and having 7 attacks at damage 3, re-rolling all his wounds.
They obviously had an all hands meeting, and they realized that giving devastating wounds and twin linked was a bad idea, so they weren't going to do it this edition.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And so that's very much in line with the spirit of other things that we've seen, and we can all sleep easily in our beds.
Melee's much more threatening than shooting because it, has to get there.
Yeah,
Jack says only T3.
Yeah, he is T3. He would have been in an incubi unit anyway, Jack. So you're wounding him on. He's T3 anyway, effectively, because he's with incubi. You can't take him on his own, sensibly. So then we have Talos, page 44.
Oh, I'm here for this.
Yeah, Talos.
If I do Eldar soup, Talos may be coming into that soup because.
So Talos. If we just mosey up a little bit, there you go. They've still got a 5-up feel no pain. They've got a 3-up save. They are toughness 7 now. And the fun thing with the Talos is that they've now made them into a genuinely all-rounder kind of unit. All the melee profiles are nice. Talos Gauntlet still hits very hard. You've got to assume this thing's going to be re-rolling its hits when it does stuff. Strength 8, AP2, damage 3, very nice. Extra attack from the Ichor Injector. With Pain Engine, once it's destroyed an enemy unit, it's just empowered for the rest of the game. So it's just re-rolling all its hits all the time, which is hilarious. It's also re-rolling its advances. It's also re-rolling its charges all the time, just all the time. And then the weapons are good. The Drukhari Haywire Blast is lovely. Anti-vehicle, 4-up, devastating wounds, twin linked, 2 shots each.
What an unreasonable stat line.
It's just so nasty. Like a pair of Talos are just putting 6 or 9 mortals on a vehicle very happily. The Heat Lance is a funny one because it's only 1 shot per Talos, but it is assault, so you can advance with this one. It's twin linked, so it's re-rolling the wound. It's strength 14. AP4 and it's Melter 3. So at close range, it's D6 plus 3.
And that's 9 inches. That's not too bad.
It's pretty good. I'm back and forth between the two, and I think it's a bit meta dependent. But the Haywire obviously just feels like the easy grab if there's lots of vehicles around.
It's not even that bad into everything.
That's it.
Terminators will make 2-up saves, but when they fail one, you just splatter Terminator.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not bad at all. And yeah, I like that it's now a proper shooter and a proper puncher.
Yeah,
it benefits more from power from pain than almost anything else because there's so much hitting on 4s in here. And once you've got the rerolls, you're just smoothing that right out and making them very dangerous. I'm a little worried about the durability. We'll have to see if they can hang.
Yeah, because they used to be functionally T7 because of the do this shouldn't it?
T7 7 wounds doesn't feel like it's keeping up with durability increases elsewhere. Is what I would say.
I'd like to see it at T9.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But there we are. That's the Talos. I like the look of it. I think they look a lot of fun.
What's your pick for the melee? Talos Gauntlet?
Oh, and Jack says Ichor is crap. Drop the Ichor for the Liquefier. Can you just check if we can do that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Little down scrolly.
Macro Scalpels, you can have either Ichor or the Liquefier gun.
Oh,
Macro Scalpels being one of the melee ones.
Jack. Double Flamers. Yeah, so just shove the Flamers on them, and then you've got a twin-linked Torrent Flamer. That's fun. Yeah, it's a shame it's only 1d6, but yeah, it just means that anything chaffy getting near them is going to get blatted. I like that. Yeah, you probably take that more than the Ichor Injector. Yeah,
people are really hot on any Flamers, which I think is going to change when they realize that there's going to be loads of Terminators. But this is a good profile. Strength 4 is fine.
I think it's one of those classic things where I think it's already distorted the meta so much in people's heads.
Yeah,
that people just aren't going to be trying to throw chaff into things.
Sure.
Early doors. I just don't think it's going to work. They'll either be overloading or they'll be shooting you apart at range first and then getting involved.
Yeah. Cool.
Last pick for me is page 13. It's the Kronos, the little pain engine.
Oh, lovely.
Love the Kronos. So the big thing with him, look at his aura, pain parasite. Every time you spend a pain token within 9 of him, on a 4-up, you just fucking get it back.
Oh, no. So are you trying to tell me that you're going to sit one of these behind terrain and then just poke your boats out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, Ed, we need to wait for the points tomorrow. But if these things happen to have been pointed at a very lovely, cheap price, there'd be a very nice little force multiplier to just float bibbling around and make sure all your Dark Lances are just continuing to reroll hits all game. His Flamers are good too. Look, he ignores cover, Torrent. Blast, ignore cover, Torrent. He's not bad in other respects, but yeah, that generation is very nice. Very sweet indeed.
That is interesting. Only one of those is Torrent. The Vortex is.
Oh yeah, the Vortex is a shooting gun. Proper,
but if it's cheap, like fuck it,
yeah,
more shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's very fun. I like that. And he's dog shit in melee, but that's fine. You can't have everything.
So you can see where it's going, right? You just
Yeah.
slap rerolls to hit on a bunch of punchy guns over and over.
It's going behind an El Ruin, and it's going 1 of 1 in my list.
Yeah,
that's where it's going.
It's a good looking thing. So that's me with the Drukhari. I don't know how multi-dimensional they're going to be, but I do think they're going to be good, because I think dropping in a bunch of stuff and just shoving lots of high damage shooting into someone is going to be good. And there's enough combat in there for cleanup. I don't think it's going to win you the game by running in and smacking stuff, but I think when you've whittled them down, you've got enough combat in here to get the job done. So yeah, interested to see.
There's actually some pretty good combat.
Yeah.
And it's called Traveling Players.
So get some Harlequins in, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like we didn't show it, but I think it's the Solitaire who has, the
Solitaire is baller, and that's what, if I was taking anything from Harlequins to be in Drukhari, I would take the Solitaire. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's but we'll have to.
We'll have to see. I don't think I'll be allowed to do that in the league. I don't think that's in the spirit of the league, but I'll do that.
No, and I'm not going to take any Drukhari models, even though I think there are a few things in there that I would like to take.
Yeah.
I'm just having a quick look. Is the Solitaire unique? Because if not, if he's not an epic hero,
Lord, triple Solitaire.
I might take 3.
Surely not. That'd be nuts.
Yeah. So what? For anyone who doesn't know, we're doing an index league, and we're going to do random pairings. So we don't know who we're playing in the bracket. So you cannot, you
don't know what's coming. Yeah.
However, if I don't have to play against Scrivo's Dark Angels until like the last couple of weeks, I might just load 3 Solitaires into my list. Be like, fuck your Desolators.
Yeah.
They're my Desolators now. I can't find it. We'll come back to it later on. But cool. It is the time of the orc. Zug. Me, I'm not that kind of orc. When I say me, I'm not that kind of orc. Me, I'm not that kind of melee orc. It's a little disappointing that this is the way that they've gone, but it makes sense because this is the general appeal of orcs. So this is like Tau. I'm not disappointed with the strength of it. I actually think it looks pretty solid. It looks like it's a pretty good one-to-one translation. I haven't had time to have a deep dive on this one, but it feels very much like the way orcs have played through the end of 9th. Hey, Davey, hope you're doing well. But hey, I wanted to bring guns because I'm a bad man and I loved me some freebooter shooting. So
yeah, super good.
We'll have a whiz through here and talk about all the legitimately good things that they have. So Wa, this is almost the same as it was before. You choose a Wa at the start of the battle round, so you can still pop it to get an invuln. You feel really sad if you do that, but it's fine. You get to advance and charge. Good rule. You get +1 strength and attacks, and you get a 5-up invuln. The only real difference here is you don't get that trailing 6-up invuln that you currently get in 9th edition. That kind of sucks. I think they could have done that and it wouldn't have been a disadvantage.
Yeah, that was quite fun, that.
What I really dislike, and this is just like a design space thing, I don't love a rule that you only get for 1 turn. Even the Space Marine one, where you get 3 turns out of 5. It's fine, because turn 1 isn't a turn in general. Turn 5, most things are dead, so you would functionally have every turn. I still don't love it, but getting just 1 turn of your army rule kind of sucks. There is a way around it. With the knob banner, you can buff a certain unit and give it a war bonus, which is nice. But I'd like to see this be a little bit longer. Not the full advance and charge. God, no.
Yeah.
Scary enough. And your army rule is sustained hits once. Your Goths. 6 is to hit explode.
We're all Goths now, baby. Lovely.
Absolutely. You don't get the +1 strength that Goths got as well, which is actually, I think, pretty big in terms of what you choose. But don't worry, there's plenty of things that are just good. So, Kareen. I love this strat.
It's good.
I used it mostly at the start of 9th edition when the book came out to not blow up my lines when I had just loads of vehicles. But basically, after a vehicle has been destroyed and explodes, you get to make a normal or fallback move.
Full on fucking move it now. Yeah.
It used to make a 6-inch move, and then before any embarked units perform an emergency disembark, you move it. You can move over enemy units. There is no escaping from this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be moving my truck 12 inches and then getting out in your lines. this is not good for you. If you killed me in melee, oh boy, I am up in your jazz.
Yeah.
Kareen got a glow up, and it was good already.
It's already good, and it's super good. And if you want Orc players, if you want this to work, just never complain when it doesn't happen, and then it will happen more. I just promise you, that's how the world works. Promise you.
It's never going to come up apart from when it does.
And then it's going to ruin people's lives.
I was talking to Jack Tite. He lost to
Brian.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he thought he had it in the bag. He put in his group chat, he's like, guys, I think I've got this. And then his kill rig, I think, exploded, and he careened it, and he got out, and in 2 minutes later, he's like, guys, I think I've lost the game. And it's so much better now. When this comes up, it is going to be
I think
delicious.
it's the ultimate Orc strat, right? It's got that little hint of chaos about it, but it's also deadly. Absolutely.
It doesn't say, I assume you act as if you're on bottom bracket because you've got less than 4.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it says 1 to 4, so this does actually need FAQing, but I assume that's how it's meant to be. Oh, it doesn't matter because there's no movement penalty anymore. That's a 9th edition thing. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Orcs is never beaten. Fight phase, after one of the enemy units is selected a target, you get to fight on death. 2 CP, fight on death, great. Big fan of that. Swizzly says,
and it's the full fight on death, right? None of this 4-up stuff.
Yeah, I prefer the 1 CP version, to be honest, just because CP is scarce.
Yeah, it totally depends on the army you're playing into. The 1 CP version is fantastic for fragile armies.
That is
true.
I
think you want the volume into certain things. But yeah, I agree.
I think Orcs might have been better with 1 CP because you have so many attacks.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, but then this does stop you from getting wrecked when you roll loads of 1s and 2s. It's
if you're an unlucky dude.
Absolutely. Unbridled Carnage, a unit that hasn't fought. You get crits on a 5+. This is the Goth strat. It was good. You were slamming it every time you charge. Yeah. You're going to be slamming it every time you charge. You don't even need to charge to get it off. It's just, oh, hey, I've got a fight. Cool. 5-up crit hits. You've charged me, killed half the unit. Guess I better get some more attacks in there. 1 CP. It's good.
It's really good.
Nothing else to say. Arda's Nails. Shooting or fight phase after an enemy unit is targeted. One of the units that's targeted, -1 to wound. Oh my god. You can't put it on vehicles or grots, but
pretty much anywhere else.
You're going to be running some Squig Hug boys, and by some I mean 3 units of 6, and you're going to be slapping -1 to wound at them, and you're going to be feeling
all players saying that nothing has changed between their book and this index need to just read the whole thing again with one eye purely on durability. That's all I'm going to say. That is where you need to be looking, and then you need to think. Did Orcs feel not that durable before? And I would say no, and they're looking more durable now in a bunch of really subtle and annoying ways.
And they're still looking functionally just as killy because
exactly that.
Some of the units you take, you maybe don't take the Storm Boys.
Exactly.
Instead, you take the Squig Hog Boys. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mob rule. Your command phase. 1 mob army below half strength. That is not below half strength. You can select units within 6 with strats, even if they're battle shocked. So this is basically just having a leader unit that's like, hey, do what you fucking meant to.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine.
Yeah, you can do it after you've rolled the battle shock test, so you don't have to call your shot with it. That's fine, I think. But we'll see. Here we go.
This is the fun stuff.
1 orc infantry unit from your army, +2 to advance and charge rolls. So this is before you deep strike stuff in. I guess it doesn't technically say on the board. So
that is true. That is 100% true. But hey, even if this is a unit on the board, this is a +2 advance and charge, disembarking, advance and charging infantry unit, or Storm Boys.
Well, you might not be able to use them on something in a transport. But you know what you can do?
Yeah.
You could jump a big blob of boys.
Yeah.
And you could just go, hey,
and just make that 7 man
charge. Yeah. That's
it's good is the point. Like
if you're not doing shenanigans, it's good.
Absolutely.
On your go turn, just like whacking an advance +2 onto the Squig Hog Boys, and then a charge +2 onto the Squig. You've noticed I've said Squig Hog Boys a few times.
Squig Hog Boys are pretty good.
If they're still anywhere near where they were, which was 25 points, oh man, you just you hit up eBay and you buy the 9 that you didn't have already.
So we're talking better fighting, we're talking better movement, we're talking better delivery, we're talking fight on death. It's the combat armies toolkit there, and exploding random vehicles, which is just fucking brilliant. So,
but that's better delivery.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
it's everything.
It's all of it, man.
Enhancements. Okay, that's all well and good, but maybe I'm not moving fast enough. Oh, hey, +2 move to my models in that unit.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, orcs are really slow. Nah.
And
Nah.
also, again, guys who say this book nothing's changed, read it again and have a look at the movement on your units.
Oh, yeah.
They are not as slow as they were.
No, they are not. Cunning but brutal. You get to shoot, charge, and in a turn you fall back on your unit. Man, that'd be really nice if I had any big brawly units that might want to sit in the center of the board.
Yeah.
I wonder if I've got any of those. Oh, yeah, Meganobs. But they're so squishy. They don't have an invuln. Watch this fucking space. We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Super Cyborg Body. This is the one that I'm least impressed by. It's a 4-up Feel of Pain. Just like the Necron one, you're going to put it on the character that you can't put in a unit. And that is the big beastie boy on the Squig Hog.
Who has been, unfortunately, slightly overshadowed by his named counterpart this time around.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was how it was at the start of the edition.
Oh, was it? That's interesting.
And then nobody took him, and because nobody was taking snake bites. But he was like better in every way, and then you just didn't run snake bites. You ran goths or you ran freebooters.
God, is he good now?
Yeah. And then Head Whopper's Kill Chopper. Great name.
Cracking
any
name.
melee attacks that do not have extra attacks get devastating wounds. This is to avoid the jank of reroll all your hits and wounds with your bite on the Squig Hog again. So yeah, just dev wounds. It's good. Put it on a stick. Put it on a unit. Put it on a gun. Dev wounds. It's good. Whatever you do.
It's funny that it's the movement utility ones rather than the sort of orky ones that end up looking the best there. But orcs already have great output and durability. So it's like
absolutely, especially with this army rule. Sustained hits, it ain't no thing. So we're going to start off with the killiest and scariest unit of them all.
Yay.
Fucking, I hate this unit so much, man. Why have they got OC2? Like, fuck me.
Gretchen, what are they like?
I wish I didn't have to take them if I was playing orcs ever again, but you're gonna, because they're real fucking good. They're OC2. They're like super. They die in droves, but they regen you CP on a 4+. You get a CP if you have them on an objective. If you have 2 squads on 2 objectives, you're not guaranteed to get one, but you're unlikely not to. Then they've got some other jank. You don't care.
It's just great, isn't it?
And if you're lucky enough for all of the Grots to die to indirect and just the Gretchen, the Runherds survive, you still keep the Thieving Scavengers, but suddenly you're T5. So that's fun. Yeah, they generate CP Swizzly. They're frustratingly good. I could have put this as my least favorite unit because I don't want to have to see them. But yeah, they're good. They're
finding scrap, Davey. Scrap is CP. That's Command Points was only ever representing how much scrap the different armies have.
We'll make an orc player out of you yet. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So moving on then to the big mech, and this is both versions of the mech. So as you can see, 5-inch move. Oh, Mega Armor used to be 4-inch. It's almost like you just said that they were a bit faster, Tom.
They are a bit faster.
You've got some bits on here. Honestly, I don't care about any of this. You reroll ones to hit at range. That's funny, but whatever. You return a model in the command phase. This is a good rule.
This is a good
This
rule.
gives you +4 inches on your charge.
Yes, it does.
It's so good. It's so frustrating to deal with. And you're taking it on a character. You're not taking it for this. You're taking it for custom force field, 4-up invuln against ranged attacks. That's so good if you want to just walk some boys up to the middle of the board. Beautiful. And then you just bring back a model as well. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's also a medic when he's actually a mech, but yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I guess he's just bolting bits of metal onto them and making them stand back up.
Not only that, once per battle, regen D3 lost wounds from a Grot Oiler. That's so dumb. And you can do it. You can just have that. You don't have to replace everything.
So good.
Like, sure, you don't get the teleport blaster, which is super underwhelming because you've taken the custom.
Feels like you might be thinking in slightly Meganobs terms here, Ed. Is that fair to say?
I haven't had a deep dive into this, and points are super dependent, but I think this makes running 10 up the board on foot feel good. Like, I'm happy to do it. I've got a 4-up invuln. That's always been there. Like, they're the only Terminators in the game that don't have an invuln.
Casual -1 to wound helps too, yeah.
Oh, you know it. You know it. And we've got some bad puns in the chat.
Gaw'dam says literally better at generating CP than an ethereal. Yeah, but how much scrap have you ever seen an ethereal with? Like,
that is a fair point.
They bring in fucking no scrap, and as such, they have less CP.
What you can take as well is the cheaper foot version, who can go in all of these units here: boys, burner boys, tank busters, looters, knobs. For example, looters, tank busters, burner boys might want to stand out in the open, and he gives them a 5-up feel no pain. But you could once per game overcharge it to a 4. You only need to overcharge it once.
Invulnerable save once per game, 4. Delicious.
And it doesn't burn it out the way that it has for like. Oh, this is just. It
doesn't.
And this guy,
it's another point scored for durability.
Rerolling hit rolls of 1 on him. This is big. This is legitimately big. If you put him with some looters or some tank busters, tank busters look pretty funny, to be honest. +1 to hit and wound versus vehicles.
And with his grot helper, he can overcharge his field 1 additional time.
Oh god,
a game of 40k is basically the same as saying just do it as many times as realistically the unit's going to be alive, right?
Turn 1, behind terrain. Turn 2, overcharge. Turn 3, overcharge. Turn 4, either he is dead or everyone else is. Oh boy. So Simon says another army that can out-tow the Tau. I don't think they can out-tow the Tau. Don't worry about that. The shooting detachment has not come yet.
They will with time. Give them time.
Yeah, and that's when I will crack mine out. So we'll just talk about the Mega Knobs. They're faster.
Let's do it. Movement 5.
Still 2-up save, still 3 wounds. OC1, you can't have everything. Like we've said that before.
T6 is nice.
I do have a quibble. They only get 2 attacks with a kill saw that hits on 4s. This is objectively awful. It's real fucking bad. And the weapon skill 4, I don't love this. However, saving grace, they do have combi weapons, which do, dev wounds just as the
anti-infantry dev wounds rapid too.
So suddenly they're kind of putting out some chip damage. And also on the battle round you call the war, they get dev wounds.
Yeah.
Hey, what if twin kill saws wasn't super expensive and you got twin linked with that? I don't know if that's true, but if that is true,
how many of them can take twin kill saws? Let's have a look.
All of them.
All of them. Now, again, obviously tomorrow's a big day, but if we were moving towards an Age of Sigmar world where you didn't pay for those sorts of things, they'd be good, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Only 2 to 6. Okay, that's a smaller squad size than I thought you could have. But maybe you just run a couple of squads of these up the board.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them at all.
Gail Morris, stop. They're not better I will not have you say that those.
I think he's parodying himself at this point.
I believe so, but I think go and get a large glass of water and wash all that salt down. You'll feel better. All right, what have we got next? I mentioned them a couple of times. We're just gonna hit all the fucking all stars here.
Let's do it,
boys. Move 10. T7.
T7.
They've got a 4-up save. They used to have a 6-up invuln. They don't have that anymore.
They don't have that now. But what?
No, it doesn't. They've got a 5-up feel no pain.
5-up fucking feel no pain on a 3-wound T7 model.
So Beast Snaggers have gone from having an invuln to having a feel no pain. It's a 6-up on most of their stuff, and you can take a pain boy to make the foot boys have a 5-up feel no pain.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, 5-up feel no pain on a T7 model that is not a vehicle.
Yeah.
There's no anti-mounted keyword as well.
Nope.
So there's literally no way around it. You have to wound these on a dice roll as got intended.
Yeah.
There is nothing else.
They are durable.
Yeah. And hey, they're a pretty good answer to vehicles. Sure, it's only P1-2 damage, but you've got a load of attacks. Anti-monster 4, anti-vehicle 4, a lance.
Yeah.
So they kill most infantry on 2s and 3s. They kill vehicles on 4s at worst. There's no way you're wounding on better than a 4. There's no vehicles that's T5.
No.
You've got some like not uninspired shooting just to chuck out as you go. That's kind of neat. It's assault as well, so cool. You've got a bomb squig, so you can do mortal wounds on a 2-up. That's nice. You ignore modifiers to advance, charge, and move rolls.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. And Davey has clocked it. This is the other big change. Again, for people saying the orcs have not changed, their leadership is so much better now.
Yeah.
Leadership 7. I think the way that the Battle Shock scale has changed has helped a few armies. Drukhari went to leadership 6, which is insane because they're cowards, they're bullies and cowards. And orcs are the same in some ways, and they're leadership 7. So yeah, I think there's some nice bravery boosts here for a lot of the Xenos. Yeah,
absolutely. And yes, that is right. OC2.
OC2, big
What
chunky
a
boys.
fantastic rule.
Let's
All
talk
right.
bomb squigs.
Yeah. D3 mortal wounds. Like, there's not
Just
much
have
to
it.
say.
Just have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's solid.
It's fun.
Bit of a cute one. We've got Zogrod. Why would you want to buff your Grots? Well, there's one line in there that really impresses me, and that is Scout 9.
Yeah.
Everything else I kind of don't care about.
Because what's the combo there, Ed?
Well, you put him in some Grots. And
yeah, I have to say, I read the buffs this guy gave out before I read what he could go, and I was like, oh my Christ. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Grots. Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But still, good.
Forget all of this here. It doesn't matter. But move 9 inches at the start of the game and move an additional 6 inches when you call a war. He is going to get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
And then he's weirdly like popping off in melee. 5 attacks, strength 7, AP 2 damage.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if he has moseyed those Grots out onto an objective, that's another chance at CP gen early in the game.
Absolutely, because you can do that on turn 1, get into a mid-board objective.
Exactly.
Oh boy. Yeah. So he's great. That's a quick whistle stop tour. I will just say, really disappointed in Gaz.
Gaz does look a bit shite. Yeah.
The reason being, and it's not on this data sheet, but he takes up 18 spots in a battle wagon.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like a copy-paste error, because he's now leading a squad. There's no reason that he should take up an entire battle wagon. I know he's a big beefy model, but like, do you want him to be a leader or do you want him to be a standalone unit? Yeah. Just make a decision between the two. I'm not jazzed about this, and especially because you can only take 6 meganobs. It feels like he kind of falls over without too much interruption.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he's pointed, because again, there's a few units that are changing from being these on their own all-stars into a sort of a unit leader, and we'll have to see where he ends up fitting, but he is certainly not quite the nightmare that he previously was, which is sad.
No, and even before, when I was looking at putting him into my list, because I thought about orcs quite a lot, actually, for a good 8-12 months, I didn't end up putting him in my lists because he's super expensive at the time, and you had to position him to... Sure, like he had the phase cap, which thank God that seems to have gone away.
Yeah, he's got good mini-game energy, didn't he? Or he did.
Yeah, but you're like, I kind of just... Against some armies, I just have to sit him behind terrain. And just, that wasn't great. Anyway, orcs. I think they look pretty solid. I'm not... I
think this is still strong, and I think it's the subtle changes here that are going to add up. And I do... this was an army that was already in a very powerful pace, sort of under the radar to an extent, and it's a bit quicker. It's a bit more durable. It's got a few more little bits of tech in there.
Outside of the bullshit too, I think this is going to be right up there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. And if all the bullshit, like hopefully we've said it a couple of times here, if Dev Wounds gets changed or just squatted, then suddenly the armies that are problems stop being a problem pretty quickly.
It's interesting. It really is. Yeah.
Not Marines. I think Marines have their other bullshit, but
orcs look fun as well. I think that's a good thing. There's a lot going on in this index. There's a ton of stuff.
Cool. Well, now I'm going to make you read a million words.
Here we go. So GSC time. Gene Stealer Cult time. Let's do this. So this was the other index I was very fortunate to be able to review for Goonhammer. So I've had a bit of time with this. It's nuts. It's wild. There's a lot of weird shit in here. It's quite unique. It sits in quite a unique spot vis-a-vis the other armies in this game. And I have a few thoughts on that. So let's start with the army rule. Cult Ambush. When a unit with this ability is destroyed, you just roll a dice. On a 4-up, it is not dead. And for Battle Line, it's just always not dead. Battle Line is never dead. It is always not dead.
Is a 1 not always a fail, or is that only specifically for hit wounds and saves?
Yeah, there's no mention of it here. I'd have to double check that, but I don't think there is a fail as far as I am aware.
Hung around.
Yes, I'm glad you're here for this, Dubious. So that's massive. And what this means is it goes into Cult Ambush. So then you can place a marker anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 away horizontally from all enemy units. These are removed if your enemy manages to get within 9 of them. So you don't want to put them in like hot parts of the board because they can potentially remove these. And And what that means then is that in your next turn, you can set a unit up where that point is and come in from deep strike with full wounds remaining. Characters don't come back, so they do stay dead. But this is nuts. This is like recycling. I guess it's appropriate that an army as noble as the Gene Stealer cults would be the first to fully appreciate recycling in a way that I don't think other forces of the 40k Millennium do.
Apart from Imperial Guard,
who are getting
not
there.
Quite as well.
They're doing what they can. Yeah, they're trying. They're definitely trying. They've got special bins and stuff now.
Yeah.
But this
Suez Canal is full. They're having issues with their supply lines on getting more bodies shipped in. This,
to me, I think as a GSC player, this is making me think three things, right? The first thing is, Christ, there's a lot of stuff coming back. That's a lot of pushing stuff around. GSC already feels like that sometimes. This is not for the faint-hearted. You are going to want to be ready from pushing a lot of stuff around the board. Second thing is the board control power this gives you is massive, because you've either got your opponent trying to push up to stop you having these blips in relevant parts of the board, which means they're close to you, which is where you sometimes want them to be, or it means you're sneaking in behind. It means you're regenerating to get good shooting angles across a game. You're always one step away from catching the opponent out with something with this, and that's massive. And there are some big, heavy-hitting units in this that, frankly, are already great for their, for what they offer. And if on a 4-up you're just getting them back, that's scary stuff. And then finally, the scary concern I have is what the hell was happening to GSC in playtesting that they were like, maybe we just try bringing the whole army back and see if that fucking helps. Like maybe these guys were into the Eldar book. That's what was going on. They were like, well, they get tabled by turn 2. Is there an army rule we could write them that would help with that? Yeah, what if the whole army just came back forever? Yeah, we can run them pretty close if we do that.
No.
So that's my one concern with this, is like, what the fuck is happening in some of the other games? But I mean, it's nuts. In theory, it's nuts, and I'm curious to see if it works out as nuts as that in practice. Then Brood Brothers, you can bring guard with it, up to 500 points of guard, without any of this detachment crap that made you have to make careful choices or sacrifice resources to do stuff like this. If you want to shove a bunch of basilisks or a bunch of manticore or a bunch of mortars or a bunch of all of that in your list, you absolutely can. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying in the indirect meta that we're potentially looking at.
Isn't Guard indirect pretty good, though?
Guard indirect's very good.
Oh, dear.
Very consistent.
Ooh.
And again, we'll have to see points, but imagine that some of that artillery was cheap because vehicles were being pushed. Then
that
again,
doesn't get the cult ambush keyword, does it?
Doesn't get cult ambush, no.
Good.
But again, when you've already got a board control army on your hands here, I think there's definitely going to be people that try guard artillery with this, and I see no reason not to. I think it has application. I actually think there's enough going on with GSC that you don't necessarily need it, because there's a lot in here you're going to want to do, not going to lie.
Counterpoint. You take it because that 1,500 points that you take of just infantry,
just
that's
endlessly regenerate.
Endless. Yeah, absolutely. So there's like almost no downside, right?
Yeah. And I think the most extreme applications of this are going to be, let's not lie, fucking joyless, right? If you just go full acolytes, neophytes, never ending, that's miserable for everyone involved. We'll have to see if it works or not. It's tons of free stuff at the end of the day.
Do you think Porter can make it through an entire edition? Just speed playing GSE?
Maybe.
He's a very fast GSE player. But
yeah, we'll see. I mean, if Eldari hasn't drawn him back in that direction,
that's true. Harley's still have a 4-pin.
Yeah, he's a long time Eldari man, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, this is. I just find it super hard to imagine how something like this could have properly been tested, and it does feel buck wild to me. So, detachment rule. Ascension Day. They came from below. Every time you're set up from reinforcements, you get sustained hits 1 and ignores cover. So that's very nice. That's very nice. You got a bunch of guns. You got a bunch of AP already. Ignore cover is great. Exploding sixes is great. It's punchy.
This kind of feels like the rule they had before. It's effectively +1 to hit and ignore cover. Did they have that rule?
They did.
And is this easier to set up?
Doesn't need setup, Ed. You just turn
Exactly.
Up. Yeah. And what's great is you just keep turning up.
Oh, no.
You know, this GSC was a one and done with these kinds of units a lot of the time. Now it's I'm going to hit you with this. Who knows how many times before this game's done?
Reinforcements? Oh, they come in the reinforcement steps.
Yeah, they sure do, Ed.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah. So that's certainly a thing. This is nuts. This is very nice to have, and I do think some of the shooting in here needs this to be effective now.
Mm-hmm.
But Infinite Army is the backdrop to this.
Interesting.
Infinite Army with all of that shit is a lot.
Yeah, my brother's going to start playing GSC. He's painting up some aberrants. And at the time, I was kind of like, why are you doing this? This feels like such a weird choice. This was before we really saw any rules.
Yeah.
I think he's called a good shot here.
Yeah, no, I think they look pretty crazy. I'd be interested to see long term if they end up capping how many things can recycle, right? Like each unit could only recycle once or something like that.
I kind of feel like
that feels like a very logical place to start with.
So if you ever play any like online games with uncapped scaling like this, it always goes away.
Yeah, it has to.
I'm not even talking about like anything with units, just like any game with uncapped scaling.
Yeah.
Players abuse it and they go, "Oh, in our testing, we didn't think this would happen," and it happens, and then
of course it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm never quite convinced that the GSC rules set isn't just a desperate attempt to sell an undersold range, and this again all links with that, right? Just like, well, bajillions of stuff, just buy it all, just put it all on the board. Anyway, let's get into the strats because they got 6 absolute bangers. Everything in here is good. You're going to use it all the time. There's some very nice stuff. So, unquestioning loyalty. If you're being shot or you're being fought, a unit with a character can just pass off the wounds it's taking to some dross next to it, and it takes all of that as mortal wounds. And your character unit doesn't lose the wounds. And hey, if the unit dies, you just bring it back again next turn anyway. So,
silver lining, this used to be just an army rule instead of a strat.
Yeah.
So
you can't have it everywhere now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But it's still very good, I think, because there's no rolling to pass it off. You just pass it off.
Sure.
So at some point, you are just going to chuck all of that damage that's going into something dangerous, into something you don't care about.
I can't wait to see the matchups between this and whatever the best assassin in the game is.
Yeah, it's funny.
Where you just eat 20 models, but the character stays alive.
Yeah. Then we got 2 CP coordinated traps, shooting or fight phase. Pick 2 GSC units that haven't shot or fought. +1 to win for both if they go for the same target. Very nice. Expensive.
Yeah.
But very nice. There's CP regen in here.
Perfect.
So yeah, super good. Next up, tunnel crawlers.
Tunnel snakes rule, man.
Deep strike 3 away. Boom.
I would have been really pleased if that went away.
Yeah. What they did was they stopped it being a once per game upgrade on one unit and gave it to you for every turn that you're dropping stuff in.
Yeah. Is there a way to put stuff back into reserve? Because if not, it's only turns 2 and 3 at least.
There is, yeah. So return to shadows there. End of your opponent's turn.
It's on the
up to 2 Gene Stealer Cult battle line units or a single infantry unit. Remove, place into deep strike, and come back down. Yeah, pretty good, right?
Not only was it right in front of me, and I didn't see it. Battle line, man, that's like the good units.
There's a lot of the good units, yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect this is going to follow a pattern of all the GSC players trying lists where it's like half battle line, half fun, interesting stuff, and then it's gradually regressed to the mean and just become horrific neophyte acolyte walls.
Yeah, I feel like we're just going to see 9th edition lists again.
Yeah, very much so. This doesn't feel a world away from that. One with the darkness. Here's a strat I'm going to use every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Your opponent wants to shoot a unit. Now they can't unless they're within 12, and it's got stealth.
So I believe the way that this works is the unit that shot gets to shoot, but then after that, it can't be targeted if it's outside of 12 inches.
Sure thing.
So you get 1 activation into them. You've got to make sure that you hit them with something. You get the benefit of the -1 hit from stealth.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing Custodes, who obviously fantastic in melee, but they don't have that much great like 1 unit shooting. They do some chip damage. You can't finish me off with the other squads that want to shoot me.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck.
And it's just a bunch of units out there where forcing them to come danger close to do stuff is nice.
Yes.
And when we get to the enhancements, we can talk some of the combinations you might want to pull with this one.
Combos, great.
But there's so many combos in this. There was literally almost no combos when I went through Drukhari. Like it was very carefully managed, very sensibly partitioned. And then you read this and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
It's very clear that there are multiple teams, or it was broken down into little pods.
Yeah.
And we saw this in 9th edition as well.
We did.
And I hope they change that.
Yeah. Or just let whoever writes these write all of it. Just go to town.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just
go
have a
nuts.
consistent
Yeah,
power level.
yeah.
It's fine if everyone's playing like ungodly, everything dies. But yeah. There's only one strat left. It can't be very good, right?
No, all you get with this is +1 ballistic skill and AP with a ranged attack.
That's quite good. But it must be hard to proc, right? You've got to use it on like really specific units.
No, you can literally use it on anything.
Anything that arrive from reserves, which is the entire way the army functions.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
a
so
shame.
that's combining with an additional AP you're already getting from the sub-faction rule. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, the ignore cover you're getting from the sub-faction rule.
Yes.
So you're getting exploding hits, +1
Yeah.
ballistic skill,
Yeah.
and additional AP.
Yeah. Oh man.
So effectively, with these things combined, you are hitting pretty much as hard as some of the GSC lists have been hitting already this current edition.
And they hit pretty
Sorry,
hard.
past edition. They hit.
I got
hard.
tabled before my turn 3 very
Yeah.
recently.
They can do that.
By GSC.
So this isn't a slam dunk of a stratagem set. Everything in it's great. It's really good.
The units
It's
are going to be
scary
bad,
as
though,
hell.
right?
The units are going to be wild.
Oh,
Let's do the enhancement first, because every single one of these is brilliant as well.
Perfect.
So, why is that 12-inch no targety one funny? Meticulous? No. Inscrutable cunning. GSC model. While the bearer is in a unit, models in this unit have infiltrators.
Yeah.
And each time you select that unit as a target of stratagem on a D6, you get a CP back for 4.
Sure.
This can be any unit. There are aberrants in this book, and they can now forward deploy with a leader in the unit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are they still infantry?
They are infantry. So you can basically shove some aberrants somewhere, then say you can't shoot these unless you're in 12. Aberrants now have a 4-up feel no pain. So
I hope UKTC just keeps Windows on their phone, because this is where the Wraith Knight's going straight away.
Yeah, it's pretty scary stuff. It's amazing. I mean, I say long term, I suspect you might want to use this on shooting units and put stuff on the flanks. But the funny thing to do and the right thing to do is start off by shoving this on 10 aberrants and just seeing what you can do with that.
Gaw'dam.
So meticulous planner, GSC cults model. This gives you Vect. Nice to have.
Good.
Very nice to have for GSC.
But if all of these are good, surely you can't fit them all on characters, because you're only going to take a couple of characters, right?
Well, when the whole army regenerates, you free up a lot of points to take on characters, don't you?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Focus of Adoration. Heroic intervene for free, even if you already have somewhere else. It's nice, and it's funny because this set's so good that's feeling like the weak pick to me.
It feels like this is the one you don't take.
Yeah. I think if you're being picky, it would be funny on something like Hybrid Metamorphs that still fight on death, but I just don't think. I think the setup's too much hassle compared to how easy the rest of this is. And then this is the very funny one, which is Prowling Adjutant. So GSC model, once per turn when an enemy unit ends normal advance or fallback within 9 of the bearer's unit, if the unit is not within engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to D6. No.
So this is the worst version of it we've seen. We have seen some that put you into reserve, and we've seen some that just move a flat 6, which is wild.
Yeah.
But, and you'll have seen this combo already, I'm sure. You just put this on, where's that strat? The one that gives stealth. Yeah. One with the darkness.
Yeah.
So you can really easily set up a unit that's not going to be within 12 inches of anyone.
Yeah, indeed you can. But there's some other stuff here, and that's where we're going to go with the units. Take me, Ed, to the Atalan Jackals. 17.
I don't want to. Oh, surely they're bad. They were so good. They were so good.
They are not quite as terrifying in some ways, but they do still pre-game move 9. When they resurrect, they can come back only on the board edges. That's their limitation, the poor thing.
Okay.
And they're not battle lines, so it's only 4-ups to get these back. But the funny stuff, and this is funny, I'm not sure it's great, but it is funny. When you finish a normal move within 6 of an enemy unit, you roll a dice for each model in the unit, 4-up mortal wound. Lol. And this is where Prowling Adjutant comes in, because you take the Jackal Alphas.
Yep.
The Jackal Alphas can go in this unit. When the Jackal Alphas is in this unit, when they shoot, they can make a normal move of 6. So you run up to this, you do your 5 mortals, you shoot, you do your move, you do 5 more mortals. Then in their turn, they move, you do 5 more mortals.
That's so good.
It's so silly.
Oh, no.
Is it good? Who knows? We'll find out.
I'm not seeing demo charges on here, which is nice.
This has replaced the demo charges. So that is in some ways you are losing that consistency of shooting for mortal wound wombo combos that are, assuming they don't shut them down, probably more funny than good. But hey, it's scary. And I just think there's going to be so much forward pressure in this book because you can have these. You can, let's go to 45. You can see some pure strains.
Okay. I do like Gene Stealers.
Yeah, me too. So these guys infiltrate now.
Yeah.
So 5 of him, less durable, but lots of attacks, still hitting on 4s, AP2 damage 1. This is the unit that the Patriarch goes with, and he can infiltrate 2. And you've got redeploys in this book. So you can very happily, with all the things we've just seen, you can have Aberrants up front, Pure Strains and Patriarch up front, Bikers pre-gaming up front, and your opponent, fucking Overwatch me. You're only getting one of them. They're all coming in. And once you've killed them, 4-ups, they're coming back. Pretty scary. And advance and charge. So, there's a lot of forward pressure here. Let's look at Aberrants because it's funny. Number 7.
Yeah, number 7. There was something I wanted to ask about these. What was it? The redeploy. Can you redeploy into the midboard, or do you have to go into your...
My guess, I haven't seen this yet. I'm assuming they're going to retain the redeploy back rather than into No Man's Land. But
because that's so punishing.
If that rider doesn't exist, this is just devastating. Just like absolutely crushing, right?
What is the redeploy on one of the characters? I don't think we've seen it yet, have we?
I believe it's the Primus has it,
Primus. Let's have a quick look because okay, this is one of the alphabetical ones.
Yeah, it's
here's the fucking loser. Organize your shit the same way. Like, goddamn, man, this is so hard
I don't think it's like a hyper. It's not like a before the first turn begins one. It's just after you both finish deploying.
Okay, so that I'm less concerned about that because you can't just do it for free. That's what I wanted to find out, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you can certainly play some games with that. And he he just gives his unit 4 rerolls to hit.
On units you want rerolls to hit on? Oh, I'm moving away from you.
Rerolls to hit, seismic cannon shots, exploding 6s, all that good stuff. Seismic cannons are damage D3 now, but hey, just roll 5s and 6s.
They were damage 2 before, right?
They were, yeah.
Yeah, so functionally the same.
Spikier.
Just slowing the game down because that's what we want.
That's what we need in a GSC matchup.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on a clock every time we play one, man. Not even at events.
Please don't.
I got things to do.
Aberrants. Toughness 6, 3 wounds, 4-up, feel no pain. Lol. And when led by a character, mini transhuman of sorts, other than strength 12, you wounded them on 4s.
At best, yeah.
At best. And I mean, we're not going to go into them tonight because I don't want to take up too much more time, but the Biophagus can make these anti-infantry 2-up.
Oh, boy.
And the Abominant gives them sustained hits 1, is a tanky motherfucker himself, and the first time he dies, he just comes back on a 2. So, there's fun to be had with the Aberrants. I think they look very funny, and I just hope that they're interesting and good enough that people don't just go 120 near fights, but we'll see.
So instead of this weapon, you could take this weapon. Why would you ever do that?
Yeah, you just don't.
Can they get dev wounds?
No, they can't.
Okay, so this is...
That's the stop sign. They never really figured out what to do with that after they first brought it out, the heavy improvised weapon.
I wish Games Workshop hired someone who could do maths. Like, please hire someone whose entire job is to look at things and like,
completely.
This isn't right. But yeah, no, this is fantastic. This is a really good, and I'm happy to see them because every time I've seen the data sheet, I feel like I want more out of them.
Yeah,
I know there have
the
been
3 attacks on the hammers is a big deal, right?
There's been very narrow metas where they have been good, but it's been so short. I've literally never seen them on the board.
And you're looking here at like a potential 10-man with a character that's very hard to wound, that is being screened if you're not within 12 to shoot it. Anything that does come to deal with it is getting slapped because this fight's as hard as most things we've seen so far.
I can't believe this has Feel No Pain 4+.
And they just have a Feel No Pain 4-up, which is just funny. It's just very funny.
That's a 4-up invert, my guy.
Yeah.
But better.
Yeah, so a Goonhammer guy play tested this and he said he spent his entire game killing the same 10 Aberrants 3 times. And that was all he ever got to do because he couldn't ever get past it.
I really, really hope that you roll a 3 when I killed him the first time.
This is it. This is the unit where the 4-up on these is game defining. If this is just coming back for another go, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Because the way it works is you put them into the pool of models that come back, and then you put down a token. And the token doesn't actually correspond to them. So if I remove that token, you're not.
They can just come somewhere else. Yeah. So it's all about whether they have the 4-up, right?
Yeah. God damn. All right. What else are you going to ruin my evening with?
Let's do the Goliath Rock Grinder.
Okay.
That is page 24.
This thing ruined my day pretty recently, so good choice.
Yep. So let's have a look at this bad boy. So doesn't need stuff in it to shoot its demo charges anymore. These are now D6 nice. Plus 3 shots, strength 12, AP2, damage 2.
Only hits on 5s.
Does only hit on 5s. Hit on 5s, but it's funny. Yeah. And you can have the +1 from various things, can't you? But heavy mining laser, D3 shots blast, strength 12, AP3, D6 +1. Mm-hmm. Seismic cannon is strength 8, AP2 damage, D3, 4 shots, but rapid fire 2. So not a world away from where it is now. But the funny stuff with this is, A, it's a firing dex 6 now, so stuff can shoot out of it. So you can have hand flamers, for example, which all ignore cover now, firing out of it. The drill dozer blade is 6 attacks, sustain hits 1, strength 10, AP2, damage 2. And it has impact mortals. Each time this model ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range and roll 6d6. 4-ups are mortals. Couple that with tank shot. That's a lot of mortals.
So this is going to be a higher strength and toughness and do almost everything apart from tough vehicles. So you're going to be getting 12 dice for tank shot for 1 CP. Yep. That's going to translate into 4 mortals. Grinding clearance, on average, that's going to translate into 3 mortals.
Yeah.
This does 7 mortals.
Just 7 impact mortals, mate. And then it hits you with its choppy blade.
And then you get 5 hit strength, 10 AP2 damage.
Yeah.
This is legitimately the best tank combat I've seen. I'm not talking walkers, I'm talking specifically tanks.
If this drives into you, and I do have concerns about it, whether it ever will, because it is only 10 wounds, 3-up save, doesn't have damage reduction or anything like that now. And it has got to get there, but it's movement 12 now. Yeah, it's nuts. It's as quick as a raider. The Drukhari flying pirate ship of death.
It's faster.
Or an industrial truck.
It's faster because you're not going to try and fly over a bit of terrain. So,
Weasel says, if you don't put something back on the board for Cult Ambush, does it stay in Cult Ambush? Yeah, I mean, anything that's made the regen thing is in your pool to bring back, right? And it's just, you can only bring them in your turn where you have blips.
Just to clarify, I think the question you're asking, basically the mechanic is all the models that are destroyed and you've rolled the 4+ on, or battle line come back automatically. They go into a pool.
Yeah.
At the same
You've got
time,
those to your side. They're your Cult Ambush pool, right?
At the same time, you put a marker on the board. If no one moves within range of that marker, which is 9 inches, it comes into your movement phase or command phase, whenever it is, you then get to put models down. Yeah. But the models don't go away, even if the blip goes away. So then next turn, when something dies and you put a blip down and you put it somewhere safe, at that point, you can bring in the unit that was killed 2 turns ago.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them link units to blips. I think that would make it feel a little more manageable to me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. It just feels insane, right? It's a very crazy set of things. And I just, as you say, there is no other army that can do this. Okay, Guard can do this a bit.
Yeah.
There's no other army that has this equivalent power. In Sigmar, I mean, I play a bit of Sigmar. There's a lot of regen and things coming back in Sigmar, or free stuff coming in. It's fucking nonsense. It's insane. The balancing on it is insane. Always has been. And I just find it extremely hard to have faith that they have thought about what this ends up looking like and functioning like. It feels phenomenally strong. Potentially. We'll have to see. I mean, it might just be that someone has just killed them so hard it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But it feels incredibly hard to deal with for me.
This is one of those
last character, by the way.
Yeah. It's hard to judge the strength of before you play it.
This is exactly it. Because stuff does die. Stuff dies in droves. But again, if it's all coming back, the mission play in that is massive. But Biophagus to finish up.
Oh, boy.
19. Just want to highlight this guy because it's hilarious. I love him. He's my favorite GSC model. I love him. So while he's leading a unit, you can go with Aberrants. They get lethal hits. Bada bing, bada boom. Once per battle, he can give them anti-infantry 2-up. smack. And then he himself
Once for battle, yeah.
can go nuts with biological warfare and unleash some deadly parasite. He goes up to 4 attacks, but his injector goad thing becomes damage D3 plus 3, anti-infantry 2 up, hitting on 3.
So what is super fun about this is just the mental image.
Yeah.
So injector goad, he's stabbing you with a syringe, basically. It's a good job that he has 4 arms. So he's under that coat. He's got 2 more arms.
Yeah.
And once for battle, he opens the coat and surprise, he's holding syringes and he's just like stab,
and
stab, motherfucker.
Like it is a syringe because it's got no AP.
Yeah.
It's just a D3 plus 3 damage weapon. That's just like, hope you don't have armor because I'm coming in.
Fuck me. You know,
that's really so funny.
You know what that's really good against?
What?
Aberrants.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really good against that.
If they fail their 5 up save, you're like, oh,
that's some delicious mirror tech there. Yeah. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I kind of want 20. I want the Biophagus with 10. I want the Aberrant with 10. The Abominant with 10. And you're like, that is surely too much. But maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Got to try it to find out. But yeah, this rule set is nuts. It's nuts. I don't know where it's going to end up. Who knows what's going to happen? It's bonkers. It's just bonkers. It's quite exciting, but it's quite bonkers.
All right. I think that is all we have time for.
That is all we have time for.
3-hour mark. And I need to sleep. Daddy needed sleep.
Ed, you're a hero. Thanks for putting all of these on. You're an absolute legend.
No worries at all. Swizzly in the chat, you and me tomorrow, we're going to be talking about some points. And it's going to be fun because I think with you being away, you might not have all of the context. I don't know how up to date you are on all of the new releases outside of NID. So I'm looking forward to you going.
It's pretty mild.
What?
It's pretty wild.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Great to see you. Bye-bye.